stop it sticking for some reason. So it's just like, I'm just getting cake cases next time.
I mean, maybe it just got absorbed and you got the crunchy goodness with the muffin afterwards.
Maybe. It was very chocolatey though, so
But that's good. You
I
can't
count
go.
that as a win.
Absolutely. Okay, so apparently we're live.
Okay.
Um,
Well, hello.
hello. Let me see.
Hello there.
um, I'll see if I can.
Very chocolatey though, so
That's good. Okay, yeah. So
chocolate.
we are we are audible. We're not sponsored, by the way, not yet. We'll see, maybe one day. Who knows? Anyway, hi,
Audible,
people.
please don't sue us. Sorry.
um. So then, I hope everyone has been doing well. So, what have you two been up to?
Stuff.
Nothing much, just lots of studying recently.
Yeah.
How could you?
I'm sorry if I betrayed you, Dylan.
I mean,
Yeah,
no.
sorry, we're just massive nerds.
I know, you just nerds, the bane of existence.
Two assignments in 1 week, I had to.
Oh.
See, this is why I'm glad I'm part-time. I get to stress about the other ones next year.
Fair enough. So you guys watched anything interesting?
Amy?
I've just been carrying on watching the Queen's Gambit, and I keep like wanting to play chess every time I watch it now, and I'm like, I need someone to play chess with now. But I can't play chess with Mikey because it'd be a bit unfair because I'll just beat him. And
oh well, ages
You never
much.
know, he could be a prodigy.
You could have the next Magnus
might be,
Carlsen
who
right
knows?
there, and you're just depriving him of his satisfaction of beating the mother.
Exactly.
I can't remember. Was it Anya that brought up Queen's Gambit, or did she just say she watched it?
I'm not sure. She talked about Umbrella Academy, but I don't. I'm not sure if
Because I
Queen's
was
Gambit got brought up.
okay, cool. I couldn't remember which one of you brought it up, so that's why I thought I'd ask one of you.
Yeah. I think I might have brought it up. Can't remember. But yeah, I'm watching it, and I'm taking my time with this one because they are an hour long.
I get you.
Yeah.
As opposed to the shows we're talking about today, which are slightly only minutes less. Hello.
To be fair though, hello.
Oh, just a delay. Sorry.
It's okay. But yeah, for some reason I was able to binge watch them with Queen's Gambit. I don't know what it is, but I'm just like I watch one episode and then I don't want to carry on. So maybe I'm just going through a phase of maybe I used up all my energy binge watching Bly Manor and Hill
Still
House.
recovering.
My brain's kind of like, no, I'm burnt out. I'm watching things now.
They're an emotional roller coaster, so it's understandable.
Yeah. So apart from that, I've been reading books.
What books have you read?
Ooh.
There's a series called Uglies, and it's quite interesting. I can't remember the author's name, but I will look it up at some point.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, I could try and do so right now, just because I do have Chrome up.
I have But yeah, it's a book series called Uglies, and I think the author's last
Liz
name
Velasquez?
is... No. I think the author's name is Scott Westerfield? Or Westwell?
Scott Westerfield, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, basically, it's pretty interesting. It's set in like way in the future. I can't remember the year, but basically, people have this operation to make them pretty, and it's the same operation everybody gets, so they all look the same.
Okay.
But what happens with the operation is they also get brain lesions, so they basically become thoughtless. They don't think anything other than, ooh, pretty. They basically become airheads.
Ah.
And so the story starts with this one character who is an ugly. So you start off as an ugly, then you become a pretty, and then there's this thing called special circumstances, which are kind of like the police of this era. And it's a
Okay.
really interesting world.
When you said special
But yeah, it's
circumstances,
kind of like a commentary.
oh, delay.
That's okay. But yeah, basically the story is kind of like a commentary on how beauty is like an obsession.
Fair enough. That's pretty cool.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. So
Like
yeah, I've been reading that.
when you said special cases, I just thought you said, "Oh yeah, we kind of botched this one, so we're just gonna leave it in the back, just not talk about it."
No, special circumstances basically the police that make sure everyone's staying like airheaded because there's this one character who has the operation and she doesn't stay airheaded. She becomes like able to think for herself and she starts getting other people to think for themselves and they're like, we can't have that. So that's essentially what the special circumstances people are there for.
Do you know what? That actually reminds me of a Korean short film I saw a while ago. It's related to masks and beauty and stuff like that. It's a short film called Human Form, and it's on YouTube to watch for free. It's only 10 minutes long as well. But that was a very interesting short. Just thought I'd put
If
it
I
out
could
there.
get the rights to these books, cool. If I could get the rights to these books, I would happily make a film or a series of films about them because they're really interesting.
Ooh, so how many of these books are there?
There are only 3 of them. They're quite small.
Okay,
Which
fair
one
enough.
did you say that you were on?
So the 3 books are called Uglies, Pretty, or is it Pretties? I don't know. And then the final one is Special Circumstances. Oh no, Specials is the last one.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But yeah,
And
that's
that-
pretty much.
Timing.
I just watched the new Fantasy Island film.
Oh.
How was
Yeah.
Blumhouse, pretty good studio. They have a batting average where some films are good, some films are great, and some films are bad. So pretty much as standard as they come when it comes to studios. Some great ones, but they also have a lot of misses, and I'm afraid Fantasy Island was one of those misses.
Oh dear.
Talented cast. Michael Pena, Michael Rooker.
Oh my god.
It's got someone from Pretty Little Liars in it.
Oh,
as well,
Lucy
isn't it?
Hale, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like her. She's alright.
yeah. I thought she was all right in the film as well. But it had an interesting premise, but I just don't think that they handled it to its fullest potential, and there were some twists where I kind of thought to myself, yeah, I guessed that like half an hour ago. Yeah, I wasn't very engaged, and I didn't really care about any of the characters either. So, yeah, I wasn't all that interested in that film. But I also finished Schitt's Creek, the show that I was speaking about. I think it was last week or the week before. And I was very sad to finish that show. It was a really heartwarming show. The characters are really well written and well developed, and just so heartwarming, and it had a really good ending as well. So I'm just sad that that's over.
Fair enough. Well, at least you've got a good mix of good and bad.
Oh, I forgot. I also watched The Hunt.
Oh, the one that was pushed back for violent stuff thing, right? The one that came out
Yeah,
this year?
yeah, I did. Yes.
How was it?
Um,
I've heard mixed things about it.
it was interesting. It was interesting. I'd say that it's relevant. I'd say that not all of it works, in my opinion. Um, but Betty Gilpin, uh, who I would say plays the lead, it feels a bit like an ensemble cast because they kind of go from one character to the next until you really meet Betty Gilpin's character. But I thought she was great in the movie. I thought Betty Gilpin was really great in the movie, and I hope to see her in more things. She was in Stuba and
Oh,
Coffee and Kareem, two movies
jeez.
that I really didn't care for. Uh, so as far as movies go, I haven't been a big fan of her output, but I've always liked her. And she was in the Alison Brie Netflix comedy Glow, which I heard really good things about. So I just hope that she can rise into better projects because I wasn't the biggest fan of The Hunt, and the rest of the projects that she's been in, I haven't been a fan of, but I thought she was really, really great in The Hunt.
Ooh, okay, fair enough. Cool,
I,
cool.
I will say this though, when I started the film, I really got a Hunger Games vibe off it.
Yeah, I suppose, like, I mean, this is just going off the trailer, but it did have kind of like that outdoors thing going on, didn't it? Like, oh, we're gonna hunt. Yeah, we're gonna hunt people. Yeah, great. Two sets of teams. Run and hide. Yeah, kind of thing going. So I can absolutely see from the, like, this just from having seen the trailer, of course.
No, yeah, I get what you mean. I hadn't even seen the trailer for this film. I just heard the whole controversy surrounding it, and the fact that it had been delayed as well. So I was going in with a whole blank slate, and I was just watching the opening act of the film, and I was just like, "Whoa, is this the Hunger Games? Is this another Hunger Games movie?" um,
But in present day,
Yeah, exactly. Wait, is this the first Hunger Games?
it's the prequel we were promised. Oh
Yeah,
my god!
I think that's in development.
Wait, is it from Lionsgate? Because that would actually be hilarious.
I'm not entirely. I can't remember.
Oh no, it's Blumhouse. Yeah, never mind.
It's one of those where I'm just taking in so much content at the moment, and 2020 has just been a ride. That there's a lot of things I'm picking up on, but when it comes to studios, it's just like, oh, it's a studio. Okay.
Yes, I remember those things.
like if it's something like a Marvel film, that's very clear. Like, oh yeah, I see Iron Man. Oh yeah, I see Spider Man. But if it's like something completely new at this point with 2020, I'm just like, oh okay. The only
Film.
reason why I know the Fantasy Island was by Blumhouse is because I literally just finished it before coming on here, and also um, in the Virgin description of the film, like on Virgin Media, the title of the film says Blumhouse's Fantasy Island.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so, but yeah, uh, Blumhouse, good studio, good studio.
Yeah, they do some good work when it comes to.
I can't
Um,
remember. Did Blumhouse do The Invisible Man?
they did, yeah. David.
Hello, sorry about that, guys.
Hello.
David.
Ooh! I really like The Invisible Man.
Me too.
I
Hello?
haven't seen it yet.
Hello.
Oh, for God's sake.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay,
Nice to
Amy.
meet you.
Who's gone?
Amy, can you hear me?
Am I still here?
You are still here. Yes. David, you are still here. Amy, are you there?
Hello.
Hello. I'm
Can can anyone hear me?
Hello. Yep.
Okay, Amy, you can hear me.
Yeah,
I
we
can-
can hear you.
Okay, David,
I
you
can
can hear
hear you.
me. Okay, we can all hear each
Yes.
other. Hey.
We're on a roll.
Oh, it's weird. Um. Yes. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I was just gonna say, David. Like, yeah, like Blumhouse very good when it comes to finance management, so to speak.
Absolutely. And I love that about them. I love that about them.
What were you
What?
guys saying about the Invisible Man?
I haven't seen it yet.
I really enjoy it.
Ah,
It's probably one of my favorites of the year.
it's
Oh,
been
why?
a really good film. It's very good.
Like there haven't been many films this year that I've been over the moon about. But I was very happy with The Invisible Man.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Cool, cool.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it sometime.
Oh,
Then maybe
I
we
just
could
meant
talk
in
about
general. I just meant in general. But it would
Oh,
be cool
okay.
for the three of us.
Yeah, alongside Mulan. Yeah, double feature.
Sure, why not?
Oh my, that would be a hell of a double feature. I've just been watching a lot of anime recently because I can, and I haven't done much anime watching recently, so caught up all the way to Moriarty, the Patriot, which is stellar writing. Oh my god. They just introduced Sherlock, and the introduction is just like, oh, good, you actually got Sherlock this time. Great. I've missed you. I caught up to the climbing anime that I mentioned the other day.
Oh, the rock climbing one.
Yeah, not bad. I wouldn't say it's Kuroko levels of animation, but you know, the story's pretty decent.
Cool. I may have to give it a watch.
Yeah. And then Haikyuu, of course, is just yes. Got some more in the docket, just waiting, but bit by bit, slowly, slowly.
Yep.
Woo! Right. So, I got a new PFP. Amy's got a new PFP. David, it is your turn. Eventually, you must change your profile picture too. It can still be of the doggo, by the way, just following the trend.
I like my doggo very much.
Oh, doggo pictures.
No, that's why I said, like, as long you can keep it as the doggo, of course. You don't have to, by the way. I'm just I'm just making fun.
I know, I'm just making fun as well.
How dare you?
How dare I?
Exactly. You, sir, I bite my thumb at thee.
To be fair, I only.
Delay. What were you gonna say, Amy?
I was just gonna say, to be fair, the only reason I changed my profile picture is because you can't see my face properly, and I'm like, I'm okay with this.
You're like Stitch Man.
I am Stitch Man.
Or Stitch Girl, Stitch Woman, whatever's appropriate, you are that.
Gotta look
I am
Stitch.
just Stitch.
You are the Stitch. The definitive
Fear me.
Stitch. Fear me. Righto then. So, I think Bly Manor, wasn't it, this week?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
I'm trying desperately to remember it because I watched it like a while ago now.
it's all right. Like
Same.
I've got the videos here, so we can just flick through them. Like so.
Yeah.
Okay, just general before we. Let me just put that on mute. Yeah, just in case. But okay, so very quickly, what did you guys think about it? Just in general,
Just
of course.
briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked it. I can see why a lot of people prefer Hill House over it, and I will just point out though, they're very different stories. Like, yeah, they're both horror, but the horror in different ways. Like, Hill House is kind of dealing with trauma as horror, and this one is basically a romance story. So I would say it's more closer to like gothic horror or gothic romance, shall I say?
Absolutely.
So I feel like that's the main takeaway from it is they're two different stories. They're not one's not necessarily better than the other. I just think they're two very different things, and I think a lot of people might have gone into it being like, I want this to be scary, and it's like kind of more focused on like a love story with some scary elements thrown in there.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, same here. Like after I got over that mental hurdle of, oh no, like this isn't scary. This isn't. I'd say this is more tense than horror, if anything. And once I got over that, I was like,
Absolutely.
oh, okay, I'm down to enjoying this now. So yeah, absolutely. They are two very different beasts. So yeah.
I'd agree with Amy. I really enjoyed the show as well. I personally do prefer Hill House, but I think Bly Manor is still fantastic. And I know I'm jumping ahead here, but I'd say that it has a better ending. Um,
Oh, absolutely.
but really engaged with the characters. As Amy said, it's trying to tell a different type of story. And I stand by what I said. Hill House is what I expected from Crimson Peak, and Bly Manor is what we got from Crimson Peak,
Yeah,
because it's more of a gothic romance.
yeah, I completely felt like that too when I watched Crimson Peak. I was like, what is this? I mean, I'm happy to see Tom Hiddleston in anything because I love him, but I was like, this isn't scary. And then when you realize, oh, it's actually not supposed to be scary.
Exactly, and I liked Crimson Peak, and I really liked Bly Manor.
Same.
Nice. Yeah, like I totally agree with you on both of you on that account because it is a very different beast. In addition to that, um, it does have the superior ending because, like,
Yeah, agreed.
considering we talked about it at length 2 weeks ago, it's like not the biggest fan of the ending. So I'm glad they stuck it this time. It feels like, from a writing perspective, I do feel as if Bly Manor was one where they learned quite a lot from their experience of Hill House,
Mhm.
and
Hmm.
it was far more consistent in its writing, while the peaks are far higher in Hill House.
Yeah. I feel like it bookends nicely. I mean, I'm a sucker for stories that bookend really nicely.
Hmm. Absolutely, it's very rare to see a good ending these days.
Yeah.
I really liked how I know we're
David.
the first episode,
Oh,
but I really liked how it was telling a story the entire way through.
Mhm.
oh no, what happened?
Are, are you
David?
like?
I'm still here. I just
Okay.
finished what I was saying.
Oh, you
Oh,
finished
okay.
your thing. Okay. We thought you'd gone. We were like,
It's like, oh no.
is he
Like
still there?
I suppose another thing to add is the fact that a lot of gothic romance stories come in the form of novels, and I kind of appreciate the way that Bly Manor is a story told to an audience. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Although
absolutely.
Although I have to say, if someone spent that long telling me a story at a wedding, I'd have been like, "I'm sorry, I have to go."
Nine hours.
It's
Yeah,
like
I'd be like, "Right, I really want to know what's happening, but I gotta go to bed, so bye
like
bye."
Yeah, she really went through the ins and outs of all of these people.
Yeah,
like I'd imagine it would have been a truncated version of it. But that being said, I would just love to see Carla Gugino just sitting there for 9 hours telling this couple of story.
Oh, that was great.
Oh, it's like, oh, you weren't joking about this being a long story. Jeez.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, like when people say this is a long story, she meant it. She was not kidding.
she was committed.
Hey, just think if it was just think with Hill House, Stephen was telling the story, so that was 10 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like that was like okay, this the initial story was already told. Then what we got is kind of
Very
like
true.
the sequel to the books, so in that sense, kind of. But this is literally right. I'm gonna sit you guys down and tell you and spin you a wee yarn. 9 hours later. Whew, okay.
Very true.
Right. So David, you prefer Hill House?
Yeah, I feel like that's how I tell stories.
Yep.
Okay. That was
Hello.
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 Yeah. Hello.
Oh god.
Yeah, I prefer
Oh.
Hill House. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And Amy, if you gun to your head, which would you pick?
Oh, that's
Like,
the tough one.
as far as preference goes, which would you rather rewatch?
Um, I think probably Hill House just because I really it freaked me out on it. I haven't had a thing that I've enjoyed that freaked me out because like stuff that's freaked me out um horror wise has mostly been in the case of like it's completely put me off the film. Whereas Hill House, it scared me, but in a good way, like in an enjoyable way, in which I was like, "Ooh, that's really creepy," and I'm really enjoying that. Whereas, like, when I was creeped out in it was more of a, there's a child being murdered. I don't want to watch this again.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
I
Oh,
I
go on.
think for me, sorry. I think for me it merely comes down to preference. Like I'm more likely to watch a horror movie than I am a gothic romance. Like as brilliant as Bly Manor is, um, I'm just I was just more drawn to Hill House than I was Bly Manor, and I also kind of connected with the characters a bit more. Like I really liked the characters in Bly Manor, and in fact, I loved them. But just set stories I connected a bit more with in Hill House, specifically like Theo and Luke and Nellie.
Yeah,
But yeah, that just preference. Personally. But Bly Manor was brilliant. No, that needs to be said. Like I feel as though this is going to be a complete simping session for us. Bly Manor was
Absolutely.
brilliant.
Um, yeah, for me, I think in terms of rewatching and which I think is better. I personally I do love Bly Manor on both accounts. Um, like
Very nice.
filmmaking wise, episode 6 of Hill House will always be top tier, but because it's more consistent, I'm more gravitating towards Bly Manor.
That's fair.
okay.
No.
Yeah, that's cool. I feel like I have a similar reason to David. I like very much related to the characters in Hill House a lot more. I mean, I'd love the characters in Bly Manor too, but I was able to enjoy them from sort of like an outward perspective, whereas Hill House, I was like, oh god, that literally could be me.
I could totally see myself. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I think we were about to say the same thing, to be honest.
Oh, you go first.
I was just gonna say that I completely get what she means.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like in terms of relatability, I do think that Hill House does have a more rounded cast, but simultaneously, I think this is all dependent upon the ending of both shows. Bly Manor does have the more rounded characters, whereas Hill House probably has the stronger in terms of relatability, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right then.
Should we get down to business?
Oh, how dare you.
Get down to
To defeat the Huns. Oh my god, yes.
I feel as though this entire episode is just gonna be full of Mulan references.
Yep.
Oh hell yeah, we are
Let's
gonna
make it
defeat
a
the
drinking
Huns.
game.
It's like I would just love to see the Huns in Bly Manor just going, what the hell's going on here? Just like, wow, how'd I end up here? And then you just got Luke in the corner going, hello.
Yeah.
Anywho, episode Avan.
I don't even know the name of it. I can't remember.
Oh, neither do I.
The Great Good Place.
Okay, cool.
The Great Good Place.
Very good place.
Yeah.
I know a show called The Good Place.
Oh yeah, this is true.
I want to talk about that at some point because it's a really good show.
I really like it as well.
Fair enough. I've not watched it, so I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
Kristen Bell's a treasure, and so is it Hugh Dancy or no? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name.
Are you talking about Ted Danson?
Ted Danson, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He is.
I got the
Must protect.
I got the dance bit right. But yeah, Ted Danson, he's a treasure.
He'll always be in Cheers for me. It doesn't matter what else he does. He'll always be Cheers.
Yeah, The Good Place basically throws in a Cheers reference at one point, and I was like, oh, yeah, I love this show even more now.
I don't even know why I got Hugh Dancy. Did I call him?
Yeah, completely
That's
different
his name now.
I don't know why I said that. Like I don't think I've ever. I don't think I've ever spoke those two words together.
First time for everything.
Oh yeah. Okay, so episode 1 is basically the start of the wedding, starting the telling of the tale, and I keep thinking of her as Nellie, but Danny, having an interview with Elliot from E.T. and going to Bly Manor for shenanigans.
Yeah.
So
shenanigans time.
I mean, we got a couple returning people. Carl Gugino being one of them primarily.
Yep.
And
I do love her English accent, although it very much veers toward Irish a lot, which is, or is it Welsh as her character? I can't remember. But,
she's from Yorkshire, isn't it?
I can't remember.
Like the way she stresses some of the words. Like I thought she was Irish at first too, but then the way she stresses some words, I thought, oh no, she's actually from Yorkshire now that I think about it. But I could be wrong.
I mean, you can tell that from the young actress, but from Carla Gugino, it sounds Irish to me. And I feel like that just happens whenever some American actors try to put on a British accent, it goes Irish.
Yeah, and then when some English actors try to do American, there's an added stress on the R.
Yes.
So American kind of thing going on. So
yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I did enjoy her English accent, even though I was like, do you know what? I'm just not used to seeing this accent come out of you, so this is interesting.
Yeah.
I felt the same way.
I mean, I had no problem with it. I was just like, I keep hearing Irish, and it's bugging me a little bit. But like, it didn't bug me to the point where I was like, I can't enjoy this. I was just like, this is very weird for me.
Yeah. And then
It was just a strange sense of the unfamiliar. Like, this is Carla Gugino. She doesn't normally sound like this, but
Yeah.
you know, it was fine. It was a good accent. It was just a bit weird.
Yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't Keanu Reeves levels of bad.
Oh no.
Oh, what a treasure
I
that
know.
Dracula film is.
It's a great
Yeah,
movie.
it is
It's just
amazing.
that accent.
It's so good.
You know what? I was really surprised when I watched this episode, and that is because we got the magnificent Greg Sestero in this show, and I was like, oh, this is lovely. I wasn't expecting to see you here.
I didn't even know it was. I didn't
Yeah.
even know it was him until I started to research for show.
Yeah, it's like as soon as he came on, I was like, oh my god, where's Tommy? He's got to be here somewhere. Oh, that was a
The Room.
welcome
What a
surprise.
film.
Okay,
The
so
Room. What a film.
absolutely.
What do you think? What do you think about The Room, Dylan?
It's a masterpiece. We should all revere it.
What about you,
Oh, do I have to watch it again?
Amy?
Yes.
What did you think of it the first
God
time around?
damn it. First time around, I laughed at it a lot. It was a little bit awkward as well, so I watched it with my brother, and we were like, what the fuck are we watching?
A genius at work, that's what.
Yeah, we were just like, this is something. Okay.
We're not sure what, but you know
We're
what?
like, it's something.
Yeah. Oh, it's a beautiful like The Room was the film that made me think I could make a film.
What?
I mean, yeah, that is kind of like you could watch it and go like, okay, if this guy's made a film, I can make a film.
Yeah.
No problem.
Elbow grease, spit,
Yeah.
and a lot of coercion. That's all I need.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like it's a film that you need to be high to watch.
Oh, I was nowhere
know
near
about
high,
that.
and I still loved it.
I feel like maybe I specifically need to be high to watch it then.
Oh, like that was a ride, but ooh,
I really want to watch it with a group of friends.
Oh, I think it is definitely better enjoyed with a group of friends.
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
think
my
it would
brother
be-
gave up halfway through, so I was left alone watching it, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm sorry,
Do you know I watched it
this was a
alone?
mistake."
Same, actually.
But yes, Greg Sestero is in it, and I love him, which is great because he's in it, and I love the show, which is even better. But okay, so as far as the
Is this just me?
Do you
Hello?
not like him? Oh no, he's gone.
Oh, no.
He's back again.
I'm back.
I didn't kick
Hello.
him, just to be sure.
We missed you. Are you sure? Are you sure you didn't go? I can get away with this.
I think Banksy needs to
suspicious.
leave. But I was actually going to ask, as far as a start to the actual shenanigans go, how do you guys feel about it being framed around it being an actual story being recited as opposed to things happening as it was in Hill House? Like, did you feel it? Were you kind of indifferent towards it, or did you think, oh well, it's a story, like it'll be fine, kind of thing?
I really enjoyed it, and half of me was expecting to not really be as engaged with it because I was like, I loved Hill House, and I'm like, I feel like my brain's gonna automatically bias against this show. But as soon as I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm hooked. So I feel like the storytelling element kind of grabbed my attention, might just be because I'm a sucker for stories.
I mean, you could say we might all be.
Just a tad.
Very true. I felt a similar way. Like I said before, I feel as though it really added to the romanticism of the whole entire story.
Yeah.
So even if I wouldn't have liked it at the start, I would have grew to like it in a way, if you get what I mean. I did like it from the start, though.
How about
Cool.
you?
Yeah, it was weird because literally I finished Hill House like the day before, so I was kind of still detoxing from that. But by the time I finished episode 1, I was like, okay, that was a solid start. But I wasn't completely engaged with it because I was like, okay, I was still getting my head around the fact that it's like, okay, same, a couple of same actors doing different things, still getting used to that. But then
Yeah.
when I watched it again with my parents, I was like, "Do you know, I am riveted this time round. Like it, I enjoyed it far more watching it again than I did the initial time." And I thought the setup of it
Fair
being
enough.
a spoken word story kind of like it put that bit of ambiguity. It's like, oh, is this going to be her story that she's just kind of disguising as a story, or is it going to be like a completely made up thing? And I was like you kind of knew it was her story from the start, but I was like, all right, let's see where this goes, kind of thing. Like I was intrigued, is the word I would say.
Yeah. See, I didn't realize it was her story until halfway through. It took me a good while to realize that this was her story because at first I was like, oh, she's just made a story up. I thought she might have been bored, to be honest. Like, I got the impression she was like bored
She felt
of
like
the
the
people
outcast
around
of the
her.
group. It's almost
Yeah.
like no
So
one
I was
kind
like,
of
maybe
wanted
she's.
her there.
Yeah. So I thought maybe because she's bored, she's gonna like tell these people a story. And then I was like, oh, she's the person.
Yeah,
As soon as I realized which character she was, I was like, oh.
yeah, because
I
like
didn't even realize until like halfway through the series. I
Same.
don't know why, but
like I had
I
my
just didn't catch on to it.
I had my suspicions about it when we go directly to the past in the first episode, but then I just kind of like forgot about it until like
Yeah.
well into the show, and I was like, oh, right, yeah, she's telling a story. Oh, what if these characters were actually these people? And then,
Yeah.
yeah, that was really cool.
I
And then by
think it
the
was.
end, oh, sorry.
It's okay.
No, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, I think the reason why I didn't realize that she was Jamie was because Jamie's in so little of the first episode,
It's true.
Hmm.
that I just didn't have enough time to catch on to it. But as the episodes went along, I was kind of thinking to myself, "Ooh, I wonder if it's Jamie."
Yeah. See, it took, like I say, it took me a good while to realize it was Jamie. I was like, oh, okay. Because like you say, she's not very much. She's not really in the first episode very much.
Or even in the second one, to be honest. It's only
So
after that she gets more
yeah, it takes
prominent.
her a while to appear.
It's like it's after the first quote
See,
unquote
that's what kind
attack
of
on the
didn't make me think
house.
it was her.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
See,
Oh, delay in the internet. Oh, don't you just love communication?
yay.
But
So good.
yeah. Okay, so what were you saying, Amy?
I was saying that I feel like that's yeah. She doesn't even appear in the second one, does she? She doesn't show up till stuff starts happening.
No, it's like she
Because
was.
like I remember being like, "Oh, this is a random new character. Hello."
I think she was in the second one, but she becomes really prominent after the first quote unquote house attack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what really gave it away for me is Brown Bro from the dinner party at the start, and then we got Rahul Kohli playing the chef, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh yes, that like that's
I love him. He's my favorite.
He was so good.
yes,
He's
he
amazing in
was.
literally everything I've seen him in. He's in iZombie. He's in the Harley Quinn show.
Scarecrow.
A
He's scared.
Scarecrow. And he's really funny in that.
Yeah,
What else is he in? He's in loads.
I quite enjoyed him in iZombie. Actually, I thought, of course you work in a morgue. You seem cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the first thing I saw him in, and I was just like, I like you. I should go back and watch iZombie now that I think about it. I never finished it.
Yeah, I only watched like 3 episodes, and after that I was like, this is kind of cool, and then I just never watched anymore.
I haven't seen a thing of it.
You might like it. I mean, it's basically a zombie who solves murders
While working
I'm
in a morgue.
interested in it. I just haven't got around to
by
it.
eating brains.
Brains.
So it's a bit, yeah, like she eats the brain and she gets the people's memories briefly, and then she's like, oh, they did it!
Oh.
And then, yeah.
Okay, there's gonna be a really weird way of describing it, but imagine Warm Bodies, but a procedural.
Yeah, that. It's basically that.
Makes sense. I liked Warm Bodies, to be fair.
Do you know what? So do I. That film doesn't get talked about nearly as much as it should.
We
It's a
should
very
talk about it.
sneaky movie, I think. Like, you don't expect it to be good going in,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you just get really wrapped up in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's based on a book, isn't it? Called R.
It is, yeah.
I still need to read it.
Ah, reading.
I
If
think
only it
the
didn't take so much
Interesting
time.
thing about the first episode of Bly Manor.
Oh, do tell.
I think the interest. Ooh, do we have a delay?
I'm
we have a
not
delay?
sure.
I think we might have a bit of a
Yeah,
delay.
it's been I've been delayed a couple of times, so hello.
I was just gonna say hello.
Yeah, it's a delay on my part.
Hi. Oh, okay.
I was just gonna say I think the interesting thing about Bly Manor compared to Hill House is the fact that I believe the first episode is the only one directed and written by Mike Flanagan, whereas he directed the whole thing with Hill House.
Yeah,
Ah,
that's
yeah, that's a good
true.
point.
Yeah. That's why when it came to directed by, I was really surprised, like, oh, it's not Mike Flanagan this time. That's weird. Oh well.
I thought it was really well directed the entire way through.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's also really cool as well because it gives other directors a chance to do something high profile as well.
Absolutely.
I like it when they get different directors for different episodes. I don't think that was the case here, though, was it? But it was pretty cool that he got someone else to direct.
There were different I think there were 4 different directors, if memory serves.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, and
I kind of like it when shows do that, because it's pretty good. Like, you get a different filmmaking style.
yeah, and as long as
There
the
were
vision
6,
stays the same.
including Mike Flanagan.
Cool. And also, yeah, like that's what I was worried about with the clown film I was making, because we all had a different, like, we all had a try at being director. So, yeah, I directed the first scene, and then the rest of the scenes were directed by someone else, so it'll be very interesting to see that when it's done.
Ooh.
Looking forward to it.
As am I.
You're gonna judge the first scene super harshly now because it's me.
Only if it makes no sense.
Okay, fair
Like,
enough.
I think
I like to think it makes sense.
I mean, I think from what I've like, you watched the Ilona Holmes video, right, Amy? Like, I think
I did.
you kind of get. I hope I've communicated this efficiently enough. Like, I care about things making sense. After that, go nuts. You know. Like, I hope that's what I've communicated.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, that's good. I am glad. Yeah, because when you're doing a critical work, especially when it comes to analysis and stuff, it's like argumentation can make sense in your head, but could end up not making sense when you put it out there. So it was something I was really worried about, but I'm glad the point was gotten.
Yeah.
Right.
It helps that you have examples.
Oh god, yeah.
So yeah.
Like, yeah, I kind of approached it in the sense of like, okay, how would I do this if I was submitting this for university? A point, explanation, and give evidence. So, and that's
Yep.
something I don't
Makes
see.
sense.
Yeah, it's something I don't really see a lot. Like, some do, but a lot of YouTube videos, especially critical analysis ones, they don't use a lot of examples. And I'm like, yeah, but, I mean, I could trust you, but I'd rather see it, you know?
Yeah.
Back to the actual episode, we've kind of gone off
Yeah.
on one.
Very
I
true.
mean, you come here for the tangents. I mean, you come here for the video, and then you stay for the tangents. Actually,
I mean, that's very
Absolutely.
true. I think we get into some interesting debates when we fall into these tangents.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, who knows? Next time round, we might fall into a tangent about, I don't know, a resurrection, or, you know, the validity of Deus Ex Machinas, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
And maybe one day we'll do a whole episode that is just an entire tangent. One point will lead to the next.
Oh, we should do that. There you go. That's the 24-hour stream idea. We just go off on tangents for 24 hours,
I mean,
Let's
and
do it.
they'll get even more bizarre the
isn't that
further into it.
isn't that basically what episode 1 was?
Yeah, it was Star Wars, but tangents.
Oh god, yeah. Oh, I completely forgot we talked about Star Wars in that one.
Yeah, it popped up on my cause I'm subscribed to you, cause I'm nice like that. But yeah,
Yay.
it keeps popping up on my news feed, and I'm like, I've
Really?
seen it already, but thank you.
Ooh,
Yeah, all of
interesting.
the I don't know why they keep popping up for me, and I'm like, thank you, I've watched it, I lived it.
Literally, leave me alone. I know what happens.
Yeah.
You can't spoil me. Okay, so to the actual episode, what did you guys think of Nellie in this season? Oh, Danny, as she's
Danny.
colloquially
It
known
doesn't
as.
help that she's got an E at the end.
I know,
Very
right?
true.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Danny. I do feel like she went really in on the American accent. Really in on it.
I mean, she is American, so.
I know. I just feel like I get that, but I feel like it was done in comparison to the way she talks as Nellie. This one, she completely. I don't know if she's supposed to be from a different part of America or if it's to make her stand out more among all the English characters. But I thought her accent was over the top.
I think. Okay, so this is how I saw it. I think it really helped me accept her accent a lot more because of the time period it was set in, because she was very excitable, she was very energetic, you know?
Yeah.
And also,
Makes sense.
yeah, and also considering the fact that she is surrounded by so many English people, it's going to stand out all the more. So I think when I thought about it in that way, I didn't really have a problem with it.
I didn't have a problem with it. I just thought it was very
easy to accept, rather.
noticeable. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes it brought me out of it a little bit because my brain was just like, "Whoa, that's a lot," and then I don't know. It might be because.
Sorry.
It might be because obviously she's around a lot of English people, so it might have just looked like the top.
It might have emphasized it more than it ordinarily would have. Like, I think when we have Danny's episode where it's just her and the rest of the Americans, I don't think it stood out as much in that one. That could be because I was already used to it, or maybe because she was surrounded by a lot more Americans that spoke in a similar way, so could be either one of those.
I'd agree with you there. To be honest, I didn't even notice.
Fair enough.
I didn't even her accent.
Like, oh, she's American. Let's move on.
I had a tough time adjusting to Henry Thomas's accent.
I know, right? Like, he was good.
This wasn't too bad, I don't think. And it might have been a case of I did the same thing as you, Dylan.
Yes.
We have delay.
Hello. Oh God. Oh no.
We
Can thou'st hear
have very
me?
big delay there.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah,
Yep.
we can hear you.
Okay, so delay's getting better. When I
Okay.
say clap, clap, clap. Okay, not bad. we're kind of close. Yeah, we're back up to speed
Yeah.
again. So, yeah, what were you gonna say, Amy?
I was gonna say, I think I did the same thing as you. I finished Hill House and then started Bly Manor in the same day.
Hmm.
So
Same here.
I was obviously more used to her accent in Hill House. So then obviously when it switched over to Danny, I was like, whoa. So it might have just seemed like that to me. Because like as it got on, I didn't really notice it that much. But the first episode, for me, I was like, wow, very American. So it
Yeah.
might have just been that.
And very cool to see her play a very different character compared to Nellie.
Oh yeah. You should see her in You. She's terrifying in there.
Oh, is she in it?
Yeah, she's in season 2 of You, and she plays a very different character.
Ooh, nice.
She's a very good actress. I like her.
Does she slap Penn Badgley?
I'm trying to remember now. No, but
Okay.
she does like murder someone.
Oh, well,
Spoilers.
close enough.
She scares the shit out of Penn Badgley a lot. That's really funny.
I mean, it's Penn Badgley. It really wouldn't surprise me if a toothpick scares him when he's acting, of course. I'm like, this is just me going off a Gossip Girl. Like every time I see him, I'm like, oh, I just want to pat you on the head and say, good you. Oh, there's a delay.
Dylan, hang on. Yeah, there's a bit of a delay.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was me or you.
Yeah, that was probably me. Yeah, if there is a delay, it's probably going to be me. If David starts going hello, then that means he can't hear us. So we've got the two glitches in the Matrix.
That's my go-to.
Oh yeah. It's like, hello, we know, move on. We're here to talk, gosh. But yeah, I think as far as accents go, I think the two people I had the hardest time adjusting my mind to were probably the children. Like I had a really hard time adjusting to them.
They were very English.
They were very English, and I can't remember what it is that the little girl says repeatedly, but I was like, oh my god, I can turn
Perfectly
this into a...
splendid.
Yeah, I was like, perfectly splendid. And then I was going to bed with that in my head, and I was like, no, it's not perfectly splendid at all. But I was like, now I have a drinking game.
I don't know whether that was just the vibe of all that family, like because I feel as though Henry Thomas had the same thing where I felt as though he was very British.
He was incredibly British, you know, those upper class British with a country home in the countryside.
Very true.
But yeah, like, I'm sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, I noticed it with the kids, but I think I had a harder time with Henry Thomas because I know that that's not his normal accent.
Yeah, Henry Thomas.
And I'd also just jumped from Hill House to Bly Manor, so it was like, okay, this is a shift.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, they seemed like in the first episode, or maybe even in the second one, I can't remember, but they were, it felt as if they were obnoxiously English, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the
I get what you mean.
And then, like, by the time it comes to the tucking into bed shenanigans, it was like, oh, okay, so these kids are not quite as they seem.
Yeah, they're not very nice and they're not perfectly splendid, and I was like, I don't like them.
um,
Honestly, it did take me a while to warm up to the kids because I was like, obviously, there's supposed to be stuff going on with them, but I was
yeah,
still like, you're annoying me. Go away.
I
I
think I.
think that was.
Oh, go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, go on. It's fine.
No, go ahead, Dylan.
Okay. I
So
was.
British.
Oh, it's like it's so British. You go. You go. You go. You go. But no, I was just going to say that yeah, I had a hard time adjusting to them, but after I saw the episode that centered around Miles, the older boy,
Yes.
I was like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm all in with you two kids, behind you all the way, kind of thing. So after I
Yeah.
saw that episode, I was like, very much on your side.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I really think I believe we talked about this with Hill House, that it played the long game
Mm.
Yeah.
the series, and I feel as though Bly Manor did that to an even greater extent. Um, and I feel that way about the kids because I genuinely didn't know what was going on with them. Like I had an idea
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'd seen the turning, which came
Oh.
out earlier this year, and it was dreadful. So I had a bit of time adjusting to this as well because I knew that both the turning and Bly Manor based on the turning of the screw. But when it came to how the kids were acting, although I had it in my head that they were the same novel, based on the same novel, I still felt as though it was a bit weird the way that they were acting.
Mhm.
But as we were saying, the long game it played out, and I was completely on board
Yeah.
because they were acting a specific way for a reason
Oh
that
yeah.
was later to be made known to us.
Yeah, and it's really cool how they set up different things as well, because you're not quite sure if it's the house, if it's a possession, if it's literal possession of the body kinds of things. So it was really interesting how it played the mystery this time around, where it wasn't the house is evil, dipshit.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and then normally you always get the creepy kid
Mm.
in like a
Yeah.
spooky film or series,
Here we've got
and I
two.
really liked how the kids in this show, yeah, they're a bit creepy to begin with,
Yeah.
They
but
are a little
they're,
bit.
they're not they're not they're not trying to be creepy, if you get what I mean. Like
Yeah, it's almost
They
there's a
as
just
if
reason
are.
behind it.
yeah, it's almost as if they are trying to be normal, but they're failing so hard, and it just comes off as creepy.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and as we find out later in the series, they're actually trying to protect people,
Yeah.
Mm.
Makes sense.
and I thought that was really cool.
It is very cool because it kind of shows you that, well, there's a person possibly being irritating towards you. Like, maybe there's something else going on with them that you don't know about.
Very true. I hadn't considered that, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And you know what? I love the transitions in both this and Hill House. It's like they're so efficient, and you're like, oh my god, that's such a good transition, because when they were going through the house and they were like, oh, this is perfectly splendid, and this is perfectly splendid, and then they just cut to opening the door and it's, this is your room and it's perfectly
Yeah.
splendid. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that was such a great transition. I loved it. Amongst the thousands of great transitions in this show.
I love it. Yeah. I love transitions. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, transitions are just very good. I am a sucker for them. If they're good in films, then I'm like, yes.
I love the connections between Hill House and Bly Manor. I feel as though they're so consistent with one another. Like everything from the way that the shows are shot, the music, the actors, of course, because you've got Victoria Pedretti, Henry
Yeah.
Thomas, and Oliver Jackson Cohen. which I really liked the fact that they kept his character in the background for the majority of the first episode, and that it was just like a complete mystery who he was. I really liked that.
Yeah. Like, didn't they have him, like, where he like, calls up the house and they're like, we just ignore it. Like, it's just a normal, everyday thing. This guy who's disappeared basically calls us every so often.
Yeah, it's like,
And doesn't answer the phone.
and then the reveal
And-
later on, I was like, oh.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's creepy.
I liked the shot where he was just standing on
The parapet, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, very good.
I didn't know this going in. I didn't know this going in, but Oliver Jackson Cohen's actually British.
I did not know that.
I found out after
I-
watching Bly.
I just assumed that he was American, and then he shows up in Bly Manor, and he's putting on a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
A very thick Scottish accent, mind
It's
you.
very sick. Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, okay, so I'm gonna look up where he's from.
Yeah.
Sure
He's
enough,
also
British.
He's also in The Invisible Man, and he's American in that, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I think that's also why I thought he
Yeah.
was American.
And
I
then,
like it when that happens with actors. Like, a lot of people had that with character from The Walking Dead.
Andrew
he's-
Lincoln.
I think it's a character. No, it's a different one. There's another one
Oh,
who's
the governor, David Morrissey.
No, not him. He's called. I think he's called Morgan in it.
Oh,
I can't
Lenny
remember.
Oh, Jeffrey Dean
Lenny
Morgan.
James. No, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is American.
Lenny James.
Lenny James.
Oh.
Lenny James, yeah. Like, he went on a talk show and they literally were like, "You're British?" It was hilarious.
To be honest, I get that with Christian Bale all the time. I forget that he's not American.
Yeah.
Lovely. But yeah, like I was not expecting Luke to be so Scottish.
No, me neither. I was
Same.
like, wow, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of weird seeing how kind of broken down and American he was in Hill House, and then just seeing him as this suave kind of Scottish guy just living the life in Bly Manor, and I was like, oh, do you know what? You're kind of cool. I like you.
Yeah.
He's
It'll
a
be
really
weird. Yeah, it'll be weird for you when you watch him in Invisible Man, because he's a complete and utter dick in that film.
Oh, lovely.
So you'll be like, whoa, weird.
I was just going through, and yeah, Jamie is in the first episode very briefly. That's where she's
Oh.
introduced, and then it's
Isn't
this-
I don't remember.
kitchen?
yeah,
where-
the kitchen,
where-
yeah. And then it's the second episode where her and I keep wanting to say Nelly, but Danny have the back and forth where they both calm each other down, taking turns.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a really nice scene.
I love all the scenes with Danny and Jamie.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have such good chemistry together. I really liked it. I was like, this is really good.
Okay, so what did you guys think of when you first saw Michael Jackson on the window when Danny's looking?
Michael Jackson on the window.
The ghost that follows her.
Oh, I was like, was there a Michael Jackson poster in this movie?
Nah.
In this show?
Although
Okay.
although Miles does have a Monster Squad poster, and I'm like, yes, and a Star Trek one, so Miles, you're a good kid. But
Yeah, okay, I like Miles a lot more now. No, I was like, ooh, he's been following her the whole time, because it, like, you see the. Are you talking about the bit where she's looking in the window when she's just
at the
gotten
mirrors, and the guy with the glowing glasses is just kind of there silhouetted.
Yeah, like there's a bit where she's in the city, isn't she? And
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
see her, And she's like pretending like it's normal, so you almost be like, oh, maybe that's a normal thing for her. Or
Yeah,
it's even like a blink and you'll miss it type thing. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, that thing's followed her. Like, that's not part of the house. So
yeah,
I was like, that's quite interesting.
Yeah,
because
I
then
was the same. I was really interested to see where that was going, especially after what we experienced with Hill House. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, what does this mean?
yeah, it's really cool because you kind of aren't expecting it because, well, it causes you to ask the question, oh, is this going to be like a haunting in the house or is it something that she is going to bring in? So a lot
Yeah.
of questions being asked.
A lot of setup in the first episode, which kind of just it's just really done very well because it leaves you with all these questions, and this is why I binged watched it in a day because I was like, I need to know what's happening.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I didn't binge it, mind you, but do you know what? Interestingly, I didn't binge Hill House, whereas this, I felt Bly Manor was far more digestible to actually watch back to back as opposed to Hill House. Because, David, I think I mentioned it
Yeah.
to you after watching episode 5 or 6, I can't remember, but I was like, I am drained. I don't want to watch back to back episodes,
Yeah,
man.
I felt the same way.
Yeah, like it is so draining watching Hill House in a good way, I mean. Whereas Bly
Yeah.
Manor felt very much, ooh, let's keep going kind of thing.
Yeah. I had a thing, I had a weird thing happen with Hill House. I got hyper focused on it. And like when I get hyper focused on something, that's it. That's all I will do. I will like watch as much of it as I can. I will like read about it. Like I literally finished Hill House, then Bly Manor, and then I went, I need more of this thing. So I went and read Hill House. So like my brain just went, I love this thing and must consume all of this thing. And then I
I
burned out from it.
I think a lot of that may come from the fact that Hill House was very centered on one character every episode, and Blind Manor did that too. But I think with Hill House, because you were learning about literally the whole history of all the characters and what the house meant to them and what happened to them in the house and how they were haunted by it, there were a lot of very tense moments. And
Yeah.
moments where people would break down where it wasn't as digestible. I guess
Mm.
you could say like it kind of really stuck with you, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna need to take a breather
Yep, get it.
before
Make a
before I
tea, a
watch the
hot
next
chocolate,
episode.
grab a shower.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Something to calm you down.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. I will say I was drinking a lot of tea like while watching it.
Yeah. Whereas with Blind Manor, I, I, I feel as though it wasn't as with it being more character driven and like we said, more of a gothic romance. I feel as though it was easier to watch because there wasn't as many tense moments.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I also love the fact that they set up the mechanics of the dollhouse, the dolls, and how the ghosts operate
Yeah.
Yeah.
so early in the show as well. So that when you see it happen later on
Yeah.
and see the behavior of the kids, retroactively, you're like, so that's why they did it, kind of thing going on. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. That's why they locked her in and they were like, no, no. You're like, I
Yeah.
thought they were just being dickheads, but then you're like, actually, they were stopping you from getting dragged off by a big, nasty ghost.
Yeah, because like and you don't even clock onto it because she just casually
No.
knocks over the doll that was halfway across the carpet. And it's so cool where the dolls are marked and placed, where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this ghost is here, this ghost is here. Lady in the Lake stays there, ideally.
Yeah, Lady in the Lake has to go back there. You can't put her anywhere else. I just want her down there. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh,
And you know what? Very
cool.
interestingly, when I was watching it again with my parents, I noticed in episode 1 they have a moment where they linger on each of the ghosts, and on one of the shots that lingers, it actually shows oh, what's her name? Damn it, I'm spacing on her name. The
The
bald
lady
woman.
in the lake ghost.
No, the bald
Oh,
woman.
Hannah.
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 Yes.
Oh, Tania
I
Miller.
love her.
Yeah. It's like
She
it
was
shows
so good in this.
in the sequence of shots that shows each of the ghosts. It subtly shows Hannah for like a couple of seconds before moving on to Danny, while it was showing the rest of the ghosts, and I was like, "Oh, that was so clever."
Oh, right.
That
So
is clever.
That is clever. I did not notice that. I really liked Hannah as a
Can we
character.
just talk about Tania Miller?
Yeah. She's
we
very
can.
good.
Like, she's fantastic. I first watched her in Doctor Who. She was in a not great episode of Doctor Who, but I liked her in it, and she's actually she's also part of the first male to female regeneration in the show, which was really cool. And she was also in Russell T Davies's show Years and Years, which came out last year, and she was great in that show as well.
Ooh.
I didn't even realize she was in Doctor Who. Like I thought she was familiar, but I was like, oh. Now that you've just
Yeah.
mentioned it, like I'm like, oh yeah, she's in Doctor Who.
Yeah, she was in the Peter Capaldi era for one episode.
Oh, yeah, I didn't watch much of that, so that's probably why I vaguely remember it.
But she's great, and I loved her as Hannah in this show.
Yeah, I thought the setup for her character was very interesting. Like, you do want to know why she was staring at that well for so long.
Yeah,
Like, she
absolutely.
you could see it on her face. It's like whatever was in that well, she ain't liking it.
And you know what? It was really cool because I think it was in the same episode where you have Danny making tea for everyone for the first time, and it's like you see all of them give it a go, but
And
then
she doesn't.
no, it's like it's really cool because like you see her take a sip and react to it, but when you see the cup, there's nothing in it, and that I mean there was nothing missing from the cup. You know, like the levels were still the same, and it's like, oh, that was so subtle, and you don't think much of it because you're just thinking, oh, she just didn't drink the tea, but in the context you have by proxy, you're like, oh, like she literally couldn't drink it. That's why it was there, and why she rarely eats or anything like that.
Yeah, you see her refuse the meal that Owen cooked.
Yeah, that was very. You can tell that's very weird because you can sort of immediately get a sense that she very clearly likes him.
Oh,
so for her not to eat the food, it's like, that makes no sense. You like this dude. Why are you not eating his food? And also, he's a chef, so you know it's going to taste nice.
Oh, hells yeah. Oh, and speaking of Owen, the absolute Chad that he is. The way I always smiled whenever he was interacting with Flora.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like a really cheesy joke. I was like, oh, I was like, I really hope he doesn't die because I'll cry if he does. I'll get really upset.
Like, yeah, because like it's like I think what was he said? I think it was in episode 2 or something. He was like, "Hello, my lovely little ladies, Flora."
I was like, I love him.
Like he adds some much needed levity and lightheartedness to the show, and I'm like, oh, it's great.
Yeah. Also, it's like when you find out later on that obviously his mum's really, really ill, it's all the more like, oh, bless you, you just need a hug.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and then a Jamie, the cool character, very much like her.
I did love her immediately.
I think she might have been my favorite.
I do not blame you at all.
Yeah.
100%
She's
don't blame you.
I was like, I want to be this person.
I think my favorite was Owen, primarily because of the fact that if I was in that situation, I'd probably be saying a lot of the same things, and my interactions would be very similar. So I'm like, you, Owen, you seem like a cool dude. You say a lot of things I would say. I like you.
Yeah.
And plus, he's brown. That's a side bonus.
This is true.
Yeah, like as far as episode 1 goes,
That's
we,
good.
yeah, we end on Danny getting out from the closet after shenanigans happen, and the lady has a wee walk. Is there
I
anything
think
else?
that's a good foreshadow as well.
It is a good
Absolutely.
foreshadow that, like, I never even clicked on until you guys mentioned it, because obviously I've only watched it once, then I watched it like 2 weeks ago.
I didn't even realize until we were talking, to be honest. But when he said it, I was like, "Oh, hang on."
Yeah. When you mention it and you're like, actually, after what happened, you're like, it makes total sense now.
Yeah, because like when you watch the first episode and you don't have any of the context, you're like, oh my god, these kids. But like, okay, either
Yeah.
they're pricks or they're possessed.
Yeah.
Which is it? And then you find the context, and it's like, oh, okay, do you know what? They might have actually been doing it for her own good. So, yeah. Is there anything else we need to talk? You guys want to bring up about episode 1?
No, I think we're pretty much done with episode 1, because we're starting to like veer off into different episodes.
Absolutely. Before we move on, I will take a tiny little break. I shall return momentarily. So,
Yeah, I think Jamie was my favorite of the cast.
Oh yeah, she's so good. I'm like, yes. I literally anything she said, I was like, you are just badass.
She was very wise, and I loved that about her. And she had a really calming personality as well.
Yeah, she's how I want to be. Like, she's exactly like how I would like to be, but I just can't quite grasp the level of calmness that she has.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I was really happy when it was revealed that she was Carla Gugino, because I was kind of
Yeah,
like, that's pretty perfect.
yeah. I do love her interactions with pretty much anybody.
Yeah, same
She's just
here.
sarcastic and just takes no nonsense, and I'm like, that's just cool.
You really get the sense that she can interact with anyone, and it will be like a really fun and cool interaction.
Yeah. Oh. I also like it, like, when later on, when obviously Danny's sort of like freaking out because spectacle ghost guy, where she's like, listen, I don't like people. She gives her this whole speech about like, I don't like people. They annoy me, but I like you. And I was like, I relate to you far too much.
I think that goes what we were saying about how she has cool interactions where even if even if she may not like the person, she'll probably have something cool to say to them.
Yeah. I was like, I wish I could do that, because honestly, if I don't like someone, anxiety will get the better of me, and I'll be like, if I say something, I might upset them. And
Yeah,
I don't like them, but I don't want to upset them. So my
that's
anxiety is like,
understandable.
shut up.
uh, what did you think of how the actors from Hill House transferred over into Bly Manor? Do you think that they all did a really good job of portraying the roles?
Oh yeah, I think so. Like, accents aside, like, I feel like they played the roles pretty well. Like, um, Danny, she was really good. Like, you could see the difference. Like, it wasn't a case of, oh, she's playing the same character, because it's like there were so many nuances to this character. Like, she's she's a lesbian. She's much more bubbly and outgoing, and she's a bit more carefree. And then obviously with Nellie's depressed and traumatized by all this stuff. And then I will talk about a little bit about You. In You, she is very good at being a sociopath. So she literally convinces you she's this sweet chef character, and then she just goes all out on the psychotic, and it's so good.
Yeah, I felt the same way about Henry Thomas, because obviously he was the really caring father in Hill House,
Yeah,
and he could always fix this.
yeah,
Um, and then with Bly Manor, obviously he's kind of went a bit off the rails,
just a tad.
with depression, and he's always drinking.
Yeah,
And then if you compare it to another performances in his of his in Gerald's game, which was also Mike Flanagan,
I still need to
he
watch that.
he's pretty creepy
Oh, cool.
in that film. And then he's also in Doctor Sleep in a very fun role.
Oh,
But yeah, I loved how dynamic the differences between the characters were,
yeah,
between the actors who went from Hill House to Bly Manor.
yeah. Also, the actor who played Luke, I thought he transferred over really well. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, it wasn't very jarring for me because I'd already seen him in Invisible Man, so I was like, yeah, I'm used to you playing a jerk.
You get the very real feeling that the Flanagan likes to work with a lot of the same guys and gals.
Yeah.
Very true.
I mean,
I
it
think there's
works.
a
Like,
consistency.
yeah, it works. All the actors seem to work really well together. They have good chemistry, so it makes sense. If you find that kind of acting, then you want to hold on to it. If you've got a good actor, you're like, yeah, please don't leave. Come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really
So
like.
I'm wondering why I keep working with Tom. No slight against you, Tom, if you are watching. I mean that in good
I feel
fun,
like
you know.
Yeah. I feel like you write characters for him, that might be why.
Like, it's not by intention, I can promise you that.
Oh, okay.
I think there's a nice consistency in that. I really like it when actors and directors work together a lot.
Yeah.
And it really shows how deep of a connection they have and how much of an
Yeah.
understanding of each other.
Exactly, you know, grabbing each other by the scruff of the neck, death threats, you know, mass
Yeah.
shooting sense, like all sorts going on there, absolutely.
Ton.
Yeah, no, it is a good time. So yeah, I mean, there's, yeah, he is good. So I enjoy working with him. Right.
Yeah. You can see that you enjoy working with him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Most of the time, sometimes, rarely, ever, actually. But yeah, he's yeah, you can use him for a lot. So, and plus, we do have a good rapport going. So yeah, it just kind of worked out, really. Thankfully, but yeah, it's great that Mike Flanagan actually gets quite a lot of good performances from a lot of the same actors, and that's actually really cool to see.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. So, finally, episode 2. So this is the episode after the night in the closet, and Nellie decides to punish the two kids, I mean.
By making them not.
Yes, and do the gardening.
I would do exactly the same thing. Yeah, I would be like, go on, you can go fix what you did.
And Miles was having none of it.
I know.
Oh, well, yeah.
And then it's like, it's very subtle, but because you guys watched it once, did you guys notice the subtle differences in the way that Miles was acting? Like sometimes he was being a kid, and then sometimes he was being a bit too smooth.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, like when he was
Hand in
saying
the
stuff
pocket
like,
and stuff like that.
yeah, the hand in the pocket was a really good, like, subtle, this isn't Miles you're talking to right now. And also the way when he gave her the roses, was that in this one?
It was in this one.
Yeah. Alright, when he gave her the roses, he just gave off this ultimate creepy vibe of, this is how you would expect a nice guy to behave. And it's like,
Specifically a nice guy.
yeah. Like, it is, because I'm sorry, like, they do that kind of stuff. Like, they think flowers make everything better. And it's like, no, if you do something wrong, you own up to it. But they're like, here you go, flowers. Girls like flowers, that makes everything better. And you're just like, it's all the more creepy because it's a kid doing it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you can very much tell. And that's, do you know what? That's really good acting for that kid actor. He's acting like an adult, and it's
Very
pretty
true.
good. It's very creepy and eerie, and just well done to that child actor.
Yeah, and Danny being as uncomfortable as she is in that moment is pretty stellar as well, because like,
yeah,
I mean, it's really like where this guy finds these kid actors, I do not know, but
I know.
like this.
I
Oh, go on.
I think for me, like I said, I'd seen The Turning
Yeah,
like a day or two before I started Bly Manor.
Oh my.
So
it's implemented really badly in that one, isn't it?
yeah, I knew what I essentially knew what was happening in Bly Manor, with Miles and Peter, because of The Turning, and
Yeah.
I did get the subtle hints, but I didn't know to how much of an extent they were going to go into it, and how each story would differ. But I think it's safe to say I absolutely preferred the take in Bly Manor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like this is combined with the fact that in this same episode you get him in boarding school going through his crap
Yeah.
over there, and you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, is this kid just really messed up and got like multiple personalities? Is he being possessed? Is it the house? Like, what's going on? This kid is just
Is he
Yeah.
James McAvoy?
ridiculous.
Is
Okay, and
he
also,
Patricia?
is he James McAvoy after a time machine? That's the question. But
Is he the Beast?
Is he the Beast?
is he
Oh,
the
dear.
Beast? Do you know what? Give him a couple of years, so I'm sure he'll get there. But
Yeah.
okay, so I don't know if this is just me, but did you guys at any point confuse the turning of the screw with the taming of the shrew?
Yes.
Like, I do it all the time.
Same. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've read neither, but you know.
No, me neither. The Taming of the Shrew just pop. Oh, I mean, I've heard it because it's 10 Things I Hate About You is a version of it, so that's like
Yeah.
the only reference point I have. But I've never read it either.
Oh, 10 Things I Hate About You. What a film. Like,
Yeah,
top tier
it's
teen
such a good
drama.
film. Yeah, I love it.
But okay. So, do you think it's... I just want to ask you guys if you found that it was really interesting how they related the Bible verse that they were studying in the boarding school with how the mechanics of the ghosts end up working by the end of the show.
I think that's really cool, but I hadn't realized that because I haven't watched it in a while and I completely forgot what the Bible verse was.
So basically, the Bible verse was about Jesus taking some demons from a human and putting them
Yeah.
into pigs. And there was this whole thing that the father was going through about,
Oh.
okay, you need to consent in order for them to invade your body and take control, you know? And I thought that
Oh,
was really cool
yeah.
because whenever someone is
Oh,
possessed,
yeah, because... Yes.
so I
Yeah,
thought,
I remember now. it does implement it really well because obviously it's like a case of the only way they can fully possess the kids is if the kids are like, yes, go for it.
Yeah. And then how it relates to ultimately the final episode when, for lack of a better way of saying it, shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's really cool because I was like, okay, what does this Bible verse have to do with this story? Because it's Mike Flanagan, you know it's got relevance. And then the
Yeah.
more you learn about the ghost, it's like, ah, you sneaky little prick.
Yeah. I thought it was to do with the episode, so I was waiting for the episode to sort of like, I was like, maybe the end of it will be something to do with the verse, but then it wasn't, so I was like, maybe it'll be later on. And now that you mention it, that is really well done, but I never actually noticed that because I forgot about the verse.
Yeah, like I think the only reason why I remembered it was because I think it was Miss Jezel was having a conversation with Flora saying, or it was maybe in Flora's episode where it was like, oh, just stop going in me without permission, will ya? And then Miss Jezel's like, okay,
Yeah.
give me permission then,
Yeah.
I really like how in both Hill House and Bly Manor, even if you don't see the relevance at first, there are always hints throughout all the episodes that will have some sort of payoff later in the series.
Things with payoff are so good, and then when you have things without payoff, or the payoff is just like not needed, annoy me.
Like,
I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't right now.
okay, so here's an
Come back to
example
me on that one.
of a payoff that didn't really have a setup. Rey Skywalker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like zero setup. There you go. That's the thing. So that's a payoff without any setup, and then an example of a setup with no payoff. Surprise, surprise! Suicide Squad. You got Captain Boomerang with the unicorn, and then you got him with the unicorn again, and then when he takes the knife out, it's with a stack of money, and you're like, "Where'd the unicorn go, you prick?" He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh." But,
how dare you get rid of the unicorn?
It's like, where'd the money come from? Where's the unicorn? What happened? Suicide Squad, do you need help?
It does. It needs all the help it can get.
It's like every time I think of Suicide Squad, I think of the Michael Jordan
It needs
meme,
all of the help.
where it's like, stop it, get help. Oh, that's a delay.
Get some help. That is literally how you feel watching it. You're just watching it going, stop it. No, really, stop it. And then you're like, oh, the credits.
Do you know what? With all that being said, I still enjoy Suicide Squad. Like, it's an absolute mess, but I still love it.
Hello.
Oh, Jesus. Is there a delay?
I enjoy Harley. I enjoy Harley Quinn throughout.
Like,
there is a delay.
Okay, so there is a delay. Now it's a matter of figuring out just how late the delay is. So, say hello after say hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
That is a very big delay. Right. I mean, it says...
Oh, no.
It says the connection is good. What is up?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys.
Okay.
So it's okay.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, every 10-15 minutes it just kind of dips and I just gotta figure out the timing of everything. Great. Lovely.
Oh, fun times.
At least Miles's face has been on screen for the past God knows how long, so that's something.
That's like
think...
the only reason I rewatch our streams is so I can see what you've put on there, because obviously we don't get to see them.
I mean, you could watch it live and just have it on mute.
I mean, I could, but...
You don't wanna? How dare you?
No. I know.
Oh well. But
I think the interesting thing about the ghosts in Bly Manor is how different they are to the ghosts in Hill House.
Yeah, they are
Absolutely,
very
yeah.
different beings.
Like it kind of,
I think just like how Bly Manor is a different type of ghost story, I love the fact that. Hello?
yeah.
Hello.
I was,
Is
I was,
there a delay again?
I don't know.
okay, possibly, but I was just riveted by what you were saying. So carry on, good sir.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
go on. I was listening.
Yeah, I really liked how, just like how Bly Manor and Hill House were two very different stories, and Bly Manor being a gothic romance as opposed to a haunting story. I really liked how there was a different mechanic behind how the ghosts work compared to Hill House. I thought that was really interesting, and it helped to differentiate the series really well.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
I
Um,
agree. We're still on episode 2. I completely forgot which episode.
yeah, absolutely. Like because we keep hopping around while sticking to the one episode, so yeah, like we're like Hill House. We plant and then we pay off later. We promise. It's intentional. We're not doing it by
Yeah,
accident.
Absolutely.
totally.
Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about to do with episode 2, or
um.
should we move on to episode 3?
So okay. So episode 2. How cool was it that they introduced the crack on the wall with Hannah?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I loved that. I
Because
was
like
like, why is there a crack? And also, why is it gone?
yeah, it's like is it something in her head or what? But then again, retrospective, you're like ah.
I think it's really cool that they show that, and they also. There's a really cool acting technique that Tania Miller uses that's very in line with the character, where she keeps touching her head. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or a
throughout
neck. Yeah,
the
she
series.
touches it. Yeah.
It's throughout the series where she'll just touch her head every now and again, and it's obviously foreshadowing what's yet to come with the reveal.
Yeah.
I thought that was very cool.
Absolutely. And it's kind of got hints of Luke there as well because in episode 4 of Hill House, you got Luke just like, oh, do you know what? My neck kind of hurts, and then like my limbs are getting stiff, and then he comes to the realization, oh, Nell's dead, and she broke her neck. That's how she died. So the neck pains and everything has been as a result of that. And
Very.
yeah, it's really cool how it's being transferred into this as well, but in a completely different way that makes sense here as well.
Absolutely.
um, but yeah, beyond that, we got more scenes with Jamie, and then I think in this one we get an even stronger hint towards Owen liking Hannah as well, because when they were out in the garden and Jamie's just like, oh, so who'd you fancy and all that, like Owen is like, oh, do you know what?
Yeah.
I don't quite want to talk about this right now. And he's looking at Hannah, and we're like, ah, okay, so that's who, kind of thing going on.
Yeah. They're so cute. I was like, "Daw."
Absolutely. I think similarly, we kind of get a sense of foreshadowing towards Danny's sexuality as well,
Yeah.
Hmm.
because
I did like that.
we see her gravitating towards Jamie a lot in this episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when considering the fact that Jamie's the one who talked Danny down when she was having her breakdown, and Danny was the one who talked Jamie down when
Yeah.
she was having her breakdown. So, absolutely, it was a really cool way of setting up their relationship early on and developing it in such an organic
Absolutely.
way. that by the time they do end up getting together, it's like, oh, this makes perfect sense.
Yeah, they kind of, how do I say it? Like they kind of sort of counterbalance each other. Like she's very bubbly and out there, and Jamie's very cool and very much like, I don't like people, but I like you.
I mean, I don't blame Jamie at all.
I really don't do that. When she's, you know, like later on when she has the whole speech where they're like saying, "Look, I don't like people. Have a really hard time liking people actually," and then she goes, "But I like you, so I'm gonna risk it." Like I was
Oh
like, I
God,
relate
yeah.
to you so much, and I was like,
That
I'm gonna
monologue
cry.
is
So cute.
top tier.
Yeah.
Like I would
Mike
say,
Flanagan likes his monologues. Doesn't he?
I would say that's my second favorite monologue out of both series. The first one being Theo's complete meltdown in episode 8 of Hill House.
Yes. Also
Right.
a very good monologue.
Oh my God, yeah.
Moment.
But and the last thing we're going to finish with, we finally get a spooky stuff going on when they're playing hide and seek. Yay! Because of course playing hide and seek is a good idea, and you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always when you're playing hide and seek, so
like
yeah.
it's okay. So this is a part of Miles that was pretty cool, where he was the one that suggested playing games, and then when they were playing games in that moment, he was like, "Oh, for God's sake! Oh, for God's sake, David!" And when
I'm here.
yeah, you just blinked out of existence for a moment.
Delay.
Oh, oh no, oh
Oh
no.
no.
Thanos.
You
Okay,
got snapped.
but hopefully I'll continue.
Oh no, he did it again. Ah.
I'm still here.
Oh yay.
Oh
He's
my.
still here.
Hopefully I'll continue, and maybe we will catch up to where we are. But yeah, like
Hopefully.
to start off with, Miles was the one that suggested playing games, and then when Danny says, "Let's play games," Miles is the one that is going, "Oh, for God's sake, we're playing games, really?" Like that duality was
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah. Also, hide and seek is definitely something when Mikey's like, "Should we don't die?"
Just Mikey standing behind you with a
Things
kitchen
happen when
knife.
you play hide and seek.
Oh no, is there another delay?
Please don't. Nah, he's actually better at hide and seek than I am.
Oh, okay.
Because he's smaller and he can hide.
I can't remember. Is episode 2 the episode that ends with Miles knocking out?
Yeah, being knocked out. Yeah, absolutely. That
Yeah.
is Luke in the glass again.
Leading directly into episode 3, where he's a much bigger character.
Yeah.
Where all of his pre-character is established, if I remember correctly.
I'm trying to remember.
Very
episode
true.
3.
Yeah, because you get the introduction of Miss Jessel, and you get Luke Peter's entire backstory,
More
and
delay.
Peter Quint.
Yeah, and then seeing his backstory, what led up to the shenanigans in the house and all of that. So yeah, that is in episode 3.
Oh, okay. Is episode 3 also the one where we find out about Hannah? I can't remember.
No, Hannah's is episode 5.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, I'm seeing a pattern here. Episode 5 of this was my favourite episode too.
Very cool.
Nice.
I'm excited.
Oh, do you know what? We're at nearly 2 hours.
Should we move on to episode 3?
I was just gonna say we're
Yeah.
at nearly 2 hours, and we have spoken about 2
Nice.
episodes. Lovely.
I keep going on tangents as well. Also, apologies to anyone who's watching because we keep delaying as well.
Yeah,
and it keeps refreshing because of our actually got it up on screen, and it keeps refreshing the live stream. So we are very sorry.
The internet is acting up quite a bit. I was hoping the refreshing wasn't something that was happening and that was something on my end. But yes, quite sorry about that.
Again. Sorry,
guys. Ideally, stronger internet is the prerequisite to having this done. So ideally, we'll have it done one day when I can afford my own internet for just me, my own, my precious.
Is Andy Serkis in here?
Nah.
Yeah, he's replacing Dylan. Oh, Dylan's back.
Wait, did you say Dylan's black?
No, I said Dylan's back.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. I was like, you know I'm not. How dare you? I'm brown. Thank you very much. So, on that high note, episode 3.
Episode 3.
So this is basically...
This is part 1 of 2.
Is it?
Yeah, the episode
called
The Two Faces Part 1.
Because I have no idea what they're called.
Oh, more tasty delay.
Oh god, green here.
No, neither do I. I've just got them in front of me now because I'm like, maybe it'll help me remember what they are. Stop it, YouTube. I'll ground you. I'll do it. Don't make me get my mum voice out. I'll do it.
But okay, so if it's loading for me, it should be fine now. Hello.
Whoever's watching. Hello. Whoever's watching, thank you for watching.
I know, right? Jesus. Okay, maybe if I reduce the bitrate, that might help with a little bit more stability. Episode 3, talk, you two, while I try and solve this. Hello?
This is going perfectly splendid.
Oh, he said it.
Oh, how dare you?
Perfectly awful.
Perfectly splendid.
It's not perfectly splendid. Not perfectly splendid at all.
Ay. I may have to rewatch quite a lot of the videos.
Where are my soothers?
Why is the...
Mayhaps.
Should we call it a day and try this another day, or would you like
try
to
again
continue?
Tomorrow?
You know what? I am going to try something and see if... continue talking about episode 3 by yourselves, and I shall join if I find that a solution has presented itself.
Okay.
Let's do this. I have a soother in my mouth,
It's okay.
Sorry. But I have a throat infection, everybody, so you have to deal with it. You get my funny voice now.
So, episode 3 is the episode with there's not as that's flying over Bly Manor at that point, whereas when Danny arrives, you know, everything's gone on with Peter and Rebecca, and that's lying over the entire family and area of Bly Manor. So everyone, there's something not great, and the kids are acting off, whereas when Peter and Rebecca turn up in episode 3, everything's quite calm, and I thought it was a really good contrast.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm trying to think of things to say, and also, like, Soother is distracting.
It's okay.
I do think the actor who plays him is really good, because obviously in The Invisible Man he plays quite a horrible horrible man in that. And you kind of just really feel sorry for, is it Rebecca? I can't remember her
Yeah.
name. Yeah. You kind of feel sorry for her because he does have a way of being like super charming, and then the next minute literally flipping on her for something, like agreeing to taste Owen's batter. Like, what was that all about? I was like, dude, really? You really getting mad at her because she tried some food?
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was really weird, and it really shown how possessive he was, which
Yeah.
I pretty ironic because he was the invisible
Yeah.
man. Like, there's a bit of a
Yeah.
connection there
But
between the
yeah,
two
like,
of those
it seems
characters.
so bizarre, but it's messed up because stuff like that actually does happen. If you're in a controlling relationship, they do get mad at you for stupid things that are not in your control. And like,
Absolutely.
literally, he was looking for a reason to get mad at her, and it was literally like she tasted another guy's batter that he'd made, and it's like, really?
And he even offered it to Peter as well.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, he offered you the batter too, so it wasn't even, what do you, I don't know.
uh, um, like you, it's been a while since I've seen the episode, so it's a bit difficult to remember.
Yeah.
But I do recall this being where they call up the police
This is.
to find Peter, uh,
Yeah.
because obviously Danny's witnessed him being at the window at the end of the previous episode, so they're all out
Yeah.
looking to see if he's around. So I really liked the search party aspect of that story.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Because it's like, I guess like none of them have clicked on he's a ghost yet.
Yeah, because everyone
Absolutely,
kind
because
of assumes he just did a runner with the money, didn't they? So, which is
Yeah.
why they assume that it's him that's doing the prank calls and all of that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of things being done over here. But yeah, Amy, when you said putting another guy's batter in the mouth was spoken from you, I was like, oh, that could be interpreted in so many ways.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I couldn't not laugh because he was like, "You were tasting another man's batter." I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "Must not laugh," and I was like, "Do you know what? I'm immature. Deal with it." To myself, like that's a conversation I had with myself. I was like, "Who? There's nobody around." Like Mikey was in school, Ryan was at work, and I'm sat there laughing at someone saying, "You tasted this man's batter."
I mean, it's kind of cool as well because I think it was in episode 1 when Danny was in the church with Hannah. They were talking about, oh, it's like there was such a possessive nature to their relationship. Like everyone could see it as well, and the fact that they were still so into each other despite everything, it just kind of shows how, even though it can be incredibly toxic, sometimes you just can't help it, kind of thing.
Yeah, like it is very easy to get into a toxic relationship and not notice that it's toxic because he's very good at being charming.
Yeah,
He's really good at making her feel
Absolutely.
special, and
thus
he's really good at basically giving her confidence. And that's the scary bit, is they give you confidence and then knock you down. And that's how it like becomes this nasty vicious cycle of being unable to leave because you're like, but I have confidence when I'm with this person.
charming bastard, all of them.
Yeah.
It's like it's weird
That's
because oh, go on.
I was gonna say that's the most dangerous thing about this type of relationship, I would say, because it is very easy to just see it with rose tinted glasses and focus on the positive things and not basically ignore all the red flags, I think.
And the first red flag was her literally grabbing her arm as she was going off to teach the little ones.
Yeah. It's like, hello, the
Absolutely.
dude literally won't let you go. That's a big red flag right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's like it's weird because out of everyone in the show, I really found Owen to be incredibly relatable in a really
Mhm.
messed up way, and I was like, okay, does this speak more about me or how well the show is written? I'm not sure. Because, like,
Could be a combination of both.
ooh, probably a good thing I'm single then. But, like,
Aw.
because I'm not sure if I told you guys on stream or in when we're done streaming, but there are some times when I'm into a show, I would say a line, and if the character says that line, I'm like, I like you. And it's like there were two people I was constantly doing that with Peter and with Owen, and I got quite a few with Peter compared to Owen, and I was like, ooh,
Oh dear.
okay, so well, something I need to look out for in the future. But
Were you sitting there like, am I the bad guy? I'm just
Are
kidding.
we the baddies?
oh, I know I'm the bad guy. Like I'm the one that hates everything. Remember? um,
You
But,
say
Does
that,
that
but
make me the good guy?
there have been quite a few things where you're like, I like this, and it's not a case of you don't sit there and go, I hate this thing. This is why I hate this thing. You go, I don't like this thing. It's okay if you like this thing.
oh yeah,
This is why I don't like this thing.
I'm okay with people being wrong, but
I literally
I
I had a
love that about you.
conversation. I had a conversation with a guy who literally hated everything and couldn't give me a very good reason why. Like any film I mentioned, I hate it. And I was like, okay, fair enough. You're entitled to your opinion. Why do you hate it? And it was literally a long list of it's not realistic. And I'm like, dude, it's a film about wizards.
Oh my god, like I read a review for Bly Manor and it was a negative one and was like, oh, it wasn't scary because ghosts aren't real, and I'm like, did you miss the point that it was a TV show? You are a film critic. What the hell is going on here? I was like,
Scary because because ghosts aren't real. What? I'm sorry.
like I was just so flabbergasted
In
by
horror
that.
movies aren't real.
I can't get over that.
Like,
That's like going, oh, Freddy Krueger's not scary because he's not real.
I mean, yeah, I kind of gathered, but you know, how was the film? Just,
Oh
oh,
dear. That's the funniest review I've heard ever.
that was so. I think it was like The Guardian or something as well. It was a. That's why it stood out to me. It wasn't like from Bob's Burgers from down the road. It was like a
Oh
prominent.
god, this was published. Oh
Like it was a
no.
proper review. That's what stood out to me even more. Like if it was like Steve from down the road, I wouldn't give two shits. But this was like The Guardian or something like that. That's what really freaked me out. But
That's pretty amazing.
I can write a review. That's made me think I can go and write a review.
I mean, you can literally just do
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I have.
There you go.
Yeah. A while back. Can't remember what. Oh, I think technically I had to write an essay for the film Avatar, not the Bender one. The other one.
Oh, Jam Blue People
yeah.
one.
Yeah. I basically just had to write an essay on that and absolutely hate the film now because I had to watch it so much. But yeah, when I handed it in, my college tutor wrote on it, "You should be a film critic," and I was like, "Oh, I'm so flattered. I'm not going to, but I'm fine."
You know, thinking of Avatar, it's imagining like a human having sex with an RV. That must be the most awkward session imaginable because the size difference and everything like that.
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't given it much thought.
Well, you have now. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for ruining my day.
I was just thinking about, okay, what if like Jake Sully as Jake Sully instead of like Avatar Jake Sully and Natiri were going at it, and I'm like, well, I mean, would he satisfy her at all, or would she think, oh, that's cute?
Oh, you tried. I feel like that's how human sex goes most of the time, though.
It's like, okay, I'll give you an A for effort kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, Bly Manor, that's what we were
today's
talking
topic,
about.
how does Navi have sex?
Like, imagine if someone just tuned in at that moment and there's just a picture of Peter Quint on screen and we're just talking about Jake Sully having sex with Natiri.
Yeah. If someone tuned in and they were like, oh, nope, bye.
What is this conversation?
I'm done.
We'll never be done.
Sorry.
But anyway, to bring it back to Bly Manor, just because I just thought of it after the sex, but episode 1, to go back really quick, the fact that there were, and this is only because I was thinking about the church, thinking about the possession conversation, just before that you see Hannah with 4 lit candles, and it's like we find out the relevance behind the candles during Hannah's episode, and we were like, oh, so what do the candles mean? And then you find out, one for Miss Jezel, one for Mr. and Mrs. Elliot's siblings, family, Flora's parents. And then there's always been that one, and after that episode you're like, oh, is that one for the husband that they just kind of jokingly said, oh, he's dead to us, or is it something else? And then when the reveal happens, it's like, oh no, it's 4, including Hannah all along. And it's like, oh my god, like, plans and payoffs in this show are just, near orgasmic.
Yeah, so very good. Sorry, I'm coughing a bit.
How dare you?
Okay.
It's fine. It's alright.
That is my favorite reaction is when I do something and I say sorry, David's immediately like, it's alright. And how dare you?
You can tell which one of us is the nicer of the two. Like, Dave is the kind heart, and me, I'm like the callous one who's like, no, again.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as episode 3 goes, yeah, very, very interesting. And it's like, okay, was it just me, or did you guys think, wait, Peter Quill? Like, is Star-Lord?
Yeah, I thought as well. It was like,
There was one moment, yeah.
I was like, are we still watching Bly Manor, or did I accidentally put Guardians of the Galaxy on?
Yeah, because I was like, wait, Peter Quint? Oh, Peter Quint, that makes a lot more sense.
It happened when I was watching The Turning. I heard Peter Quint, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, also, it's really cool because in this episode, you get to see, like, how Peter and Elliot's relationship is, like, Henry Thomas, I mean. I just keep saying Elliot from E.T. because it's easy to remember. But what their relationship is like and where they stand with each other with regards to friends and even beyond that. Because when we see the interview for the first time, it really does feel as if Peter is the one who's doing the interview as opposed to Elliot, because, you know, by this point, you know, the parents have already died, and it's more as if, yeah, Peter, we're partners, but clearly you are doing a lot of the heavy lifting at the moment kind of thing going on.
Absolutely, and I think it shows Henry Thomas's character's mindset in that moment as well, because obviously he's very depressed, and he's already started drinking. So I think it really shows his character's mindset, and obviously we don't get into that until much later in the series.
Yeah.
But I think that it's very clear that something's not right with him.
Yeah. I do love how they plant these things very early on and you kind of get a payoff with them, and it's something as simple as drinking. Like, sometimes just characters like to drink and there's never a payoff, but even little things where he's drinking a lot, it's sort of there's eventually a payoff and an explanation why he's the way he is.
Absolutely.
And it's really good.
exactly like Theo in in Hill House during the night before the funeral episode, because you see her drinking a lot,
Oh God,
and then
yeah.
later on you discover that she feels nothing.
Oh,
She
Yeah.
feels nothing, and she
Yeah.
was drinking to get away from the fact that she'd felt Nellie's body and the emptiness of it all.
Yeah.
oh.
It's very good.
Yeah, like if it isn't obvious already, the writing in this show is just stellar.
Oh, speaking of writing, I did love when you put in your video talking about good writing. You had the bit where Storm, oh, I've forgotten her name. The really bad, not nice lady in The Boys. You had her
Oh.
holding up a script, and I was like, "That's brilliant."
Yeah.
I did enjoy that. Sorry, it just
Um,
reminded me of it then.
Yeah, because I don't know, like especially when it comes to the mainstream, it really does feel as if having structure and like good storytelling is like a sin of some sort, and Stormfront is kind of like the perfect encapsulation of it.
That's
It's
it.
like good writing is Nazism, and I'm like, oh Jesus.
Like, why? Why would you do this?
Oh, but yeah, because I was thinking, what clip could I use here? I could just have um, like Meiji Ikari there again, just having that shit-eating grin on his face, and then I just thought, oh wait, hang on, yeah, Stormfront, there we go, sorted.
Yeah.
Part 2 is on the way, but I'm in the middle of editing, so who knows? It might be out on Friday. But
Ooh.
Very nice.
Yeah. I will be making my own video. I will be starting a YouTube channel very soon. I don't know when though, but yeah.
the link will be in the description as soon as it is made. Believe you me, she has promised me to do this.
I have promised. I have to do it now.
To share the link, I mean, not to make videos. She's free to do what she wants, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Funny. Okay, so we know how possessive like Peter Quinn can be, but like considering that the setup for it, the initial quote unquote romance between the two of them, like that point when it was raining really heavy and they decided to have the hot chocolate with each other, like that conversation I thought was so interesting in a way where it really shows off Peter's character in a way that we haven't seen up until that point in the episode, because it shows him as someone that is actually vulnerable, and he's been through stuff, especially when he says, yeah, I grew up with nothing and now I have to claw my way up, which is why I relate to you, which is why I fought so much to get to this job as I did, kind of thing. And then him actually figuring out Rebecca's plan as well. I was like, ooh, so Peter, you've got big boy brains on you.
Yeah.
Galaxy brain.
Galaxy brain. Mega mind.
That's a frightening thing about controlling relationships. There's a reason they manage to keep control, because they're very intelligent and go in an intelligent way about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Spooky.
it's his ability to read people and understand them so intimately, Like, I think it's in the same episode where him and Miles is having the conversation in the classroom after he brought the flowers for the first time. And Miles is like, oh, it's like, why do you need to do this to get the attention of a woman? It's like, okay, so people are like keys, which will come back later, and then because that's something Miles always kept on saying, it's like finding the right key. But like the fact that he was able to articulate exactly what he was doing to Miles in such a way that it was like, Miles is inquisitive, he's asking, oh, so why did you give the flowers to Flora? And he was just like, I didn't, because Rebecca did get the flowers as he intended on it. So yeah, it was very, very on the one hand, it makes for a really interesting character because you understand just how intimately he understands people, and on the second hand, combine it with the fact that he is so possessive that just makes it all the more of a terrifying combination when we understand the mechanics of how Bly actually works.
Yeah, it's very much like the whole time I was watching them, I was like, run away, run as fast as you can.
Absolutely. Oops, sorry.
And then I was like, and then she was like being literally told, "This guy is no good for you. You clearly are being affected badly." And then she just kind of goes, "Well, no one else notices me, and no one else makes me feel like this." And it was like, that's really depressing
Yeah,
that
and
she's willing to put up with this crap
yeah, and
when she
then
could have been with someone who actually is able to appreciate her and not be super possessive and such a creepy jerk about it.
like I think one of the reasons why I was able to, well, not hate Peter in a lot of ways is because they are very similar in terms of what they've had to go through in order to get to where they are. Because we get both of their backstories in this scene where Rebecca's had to go through the appropriate way where she's been fondled all over the place, and Peter's had
Yeah.
to fight his entire life to get what he wants. So I think finding that companionship in each other, it's incredibly powerful because it gives you companionship, but at the same time, because of your history, you're just unwilling to let go of something so good so easily. And I thought that was
Yeah.
something really interesting that they explored.
It's very interesting, but also it's kind of harmful because that's basically it feels a little bit romanticizing it, and that kind of frustrated me watching it
That's
because
interesting because at no point did I think it was romanticized. I thought it was very clear on it being, this is not good. Please don't do this. Like, I very much got that
yeah,
vibe. That's very interesting you say that.
I
I
just
felt
find it
kind of mixed on it. I kind of agree with Amy. Like I feel as though they tried to ride the line with it,
yeah. See
and
the
I kept felt
sorry.
feeling as though they kept dipping into either side. Like, oh, this is bad. Oh, let's romanticize it. Like they were trying to toe the line with it.
Okay.
Yeah, like the fact that you say you were able to feel sympathy towards Peter's character, this is why I'm saying I feel like it's been romanticized because they try so hard to humanize him, but it's like this behavior is not okay. No matter what you've
Okay.
been through, like this behavior is bad. Because a lot of the time it felt like they were like, he do the bad thing, but also look, he has had bad past too. So like it's not all his fault, and it's like, but
Okay,
it's still not
so
okay.
right. So fair enough. I think maybe it was just me not articulating it properly, but yes, I I do understand him, and I think it's because I understand him, and as a result, the actions that he's doing, it's never um, rewarded. Their actions are never rewarded. It's always come at the
True.
expense of a consequence, and that's why I think that they don't encourage it. Like you can feel sympathy for them, yet at the same time, their behavior at their current moment is not good, and therefore they are constantly being punished for it. Whereas
Mm,
when they are feeling happy and when they are being very communicative, when they are being very giving with each other, they're rewarded with more presence with each other. But when they're being
mm,
possessive, they're being hurt in some way. So that's why the more I understood them, the more I felt, okay, I understand you, but clearly there is a line between what's good and what's bad. And the show, I think, did a very good job of establishing what is good and what is bad. Being possessive is
yeah.
bad, and being willing with each other and being open with each other is good because, like in the opening scene, they found each other and, well, not the meeting, rather, the hot chocolate scene. They're being open with each other, they're being nice with each other, and they're rewarded with a relationship. But when they're being possessive, literal death.
Yeah.
you know?
I feel you there. That makes perfect sense. I think the thing that made me go, it feels like it's being romanticized a bit was literally Rebecca's whole statement about literally I have to put up with his shit because no one else will make me feel like this, and that little monologue when I was watching it, I was like, that is so. It's really heartbreaking. And I mean, on the one hand, it's a way of showing like this is how far gone she is, but on the other hand, the way she sees it, she is seeing that relationship as a positive, and she's defending it by saying, I'm gonna put up with these things because, you know, it's not that bad, or because I get some kind of good out of it. And I'm like, that tiny little bit feels a bit like it's trying to say, like, this kind of behavior, you will overlook it to be happy, basically. And I just got that from it, but it might be also partially down to I've been in the situation of the relationship, so there's probably bias for me. And it kind of maybe popped up a little bit while watching this episode.
I get you. I felt quite uncomfortable watching the scenes between Rebecca and um, Peter. I spaced on his name there. But I get that it was probably the intention to make it a
Yeah,
bit.
like it was
Yeah.
like when they're being possessive, like especially when he's grabbing the arm and then being very like vocal towards her. Those scenes were very clear. This is not right. Don't do this kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was very clear, but then again, that I suppose that was just me, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Again, like I say, there might be a bias in there because I've experienced a relationship similar to that.
fair
So
enough. Fair enough.
I
I
feel
mean,
like maybe seeing it on screen didn't do me any favors, so it made me kind of dislike the character extra
he
because
wasn't meant to
I've
be liked,
met.
so.
No, I know. No, but it sort of made me not really even feel sorry. Like it made me, if anything, I was just there was nothing there for me to like in there. But
That's
that
fine.
might be because, like I say, I've dated someone who's quite similar. Like there was no like physical abuse or anything done, but I was very much manipulated a lot in one of my relationships, and I saw a lot of that in this episode. So, like I say, it could be a lot of bias playing a part in my criticism there.
So, if I would say that because you felt so strongly about it, would you say that the writers did a good job in portraying it and saying
Yeah.
that it was actually something that is not healthy in the show, considering your experience?
Yeah, I do think they did a good job of showing that this is not good. I just think for me, when she did the little monologue about I'm just going to put up with it because I'm not going to get any better, I think for me, I just personally took it as it feels like she's kind of just using it as a way to explain away everything and just be like, I love him anyway. And now that I think about it, that's quite realistic. So, yeah, I think they did a good job.
I,
Okay,
I,
that's cool.
I
Um,
think they did a good job. I think for me, on a personal level, I just felt quite uncomfortable in the scenes where they were being loving to one another
Yeah,
after some abusive scenes.
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Because
again,
I
that's
felt very uncomfortable because it wasn't the intention. I imagine, but it felt as though they were really going for this is a very loving relationship.
I think,
But and they cut to a scene where it would be a bit not nice, not nice.
yeah,
yeah, I think the very first interaction, again, the hot chocolate one, that one is meant to be viewed as a positive. But after the abuse starts to happen, and then you see Peter just come to the manor over and over again, after that point, no matter how adorable they are with each other, it was never portrayed as something positive
yeah.
after the revelation of the possessiveness was revealed.
Yeah, I
And I
mean,
think
you like get Hannah pointing this out, like, why are you letting him do this? So
exactly, and confronts both of them at in the whatchamacallit as well, in the master bedroom as well.
in the yeah,
They also call them Bonnie and Clyde at one point.
Mm.
yeah,
But yeah, it's like Understandably, everyone's got different experiences, and
Yeah.
you know, it's not going to be the same all the way through. But from personal perspective, as far as portraying it, and then making sure the lines are very clear, no matter how charismatic or how sympathetic he may be, I thought the show did a fantastic way of showing. Now, this is not healthy, and this is not something you should aspire to be. It's never romanticized.
I feel as though they did that more than portraying it romantically, but I
Yeah.
romanticized. I mean, but I feel as though there were moments where I did feel as though that line was being towed on the romanticism side.
Yeah, and in a really weird way, doesn't that put you in the shoes of Jezzel to
Very
just
true.
know
Very
how
true.
uncomfortable you could be knowing that this is what's happening to her in that moment?
Very true, and I
Yeah.
suppose a part of Miss Jezzel's point of view could be a case of is it Stockholm syndrome, like Beauty and the Beast syndrome?
Um, Stockholm
Um.
syndrome, in a very basic way, is when a it's between a captor and a captive, and when
Yeah.
the captive falls in love with the captor, in
Yeah.
a very
I would
basic
argue.
sense.
Yeah, I would argue that Beauty and the Beast isn't Stockholm syndrome because on
She
a
willingly
number of
stays. Like,
on
he
a
gives
number
her
of
every
occasions
option.
he lets her
True.
go and she chooses to come back, and so I think it's quite a common one to like assume that Beauty and the Beast is a story of Stockholm syndrome because she gets captured, but she willingly chooses to stay there.
That's true. I was just suggesting Beauty and the Beast because I know that it has been referred to that in
Yeah,
as an example of Stockholm syndrome in the past.
yeah. I
Um,
just thought it'd be fun to counterpoint like why not? Just briefly. Sorry.
yeah, yeah, of course, of course. But yeah, I kind of got a sense of that with Rebecca Jessel because at the end of the day, um, Peter Quint was essentially the person who interviewed her, was the person who drove her there.
Yeah.
He was the person who ultimately stopped her stay there as well.
Oh, yeah. That
True.
was a big dick move.
It was.
Actually, forget what I said. He made her stay there permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a very dick move. But yeah, that I mean you could argue at the end it's like a captive situation, but she doesn't fall in love with him while she's basically being held against her will.
True,
She
true,
falls in love with the him that's like, oh look at me, I'm all charming, aren't I?
true. That's fair. I can see what you guys mean.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, I
after a,
can see why you got that vibe.
yeah, because after she gets turned into the ghost, she very much is. Look, Peter, you're kind of going a bit too far. I think we should take a
Oh yeah,
break.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Once she's turned into a ghost, because you even see her helping Danny and Flora.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Anywho, enough of that because we got deep. Let's go back on. Let's go to episode number 4. Or
no.
is there more you want to say? Wow.
Um, not like I thought it's good because like conversation is how we explore different perspectives, and if we don't have these set conversations, like tangents included, like we're not
Yeah.
gonna get any better. So understanding different perspectives is absolutely important, and it's
Yes.
good to have a common ground. So it's good. It's good.
Good.
Righto then. Episode 4.
I
And this
like this
was
one.
this was Danny's episode, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Right. So we get to
This-
spend some time in America.
Woo. Yeah. Also, we get to find out who Spectacly Ghost is.
Yes, Michael Jackson's identity is revealed. Legit, when me and my parents were watching it, my dad's like, "Who's that Michael Jackson looking motherfucker?" I was like, "Okay." But yeah, very interesting episode, and it
Yep.
really. Okay, I'll let you two speak first, just because I can.
Okay. He's gone mad with power again.
I am. I have all the power.
I've got the power. Woo woo! I really like this episode. Because like the whole time, like you go through it and you're like, oh, childhood romance, very cute. Then you get to when they're older and she's very clearly uncomfortable with it, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. She doesn't look very happy about this.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
it was in the previous episode where it was revealed that she has a thing for Jamie as well, isn't it? So
Yeah.
already the mental connections are being made.
But yeah, so you sort of see it. Like at first, I was like, oh, that's cute. Like, oh, so she lost their childhood lover or something. Like I was expecting them to like have moved away or have been up with her or something. Or then clicked, oh, he might be a ghost actually. I thought it might have just been her manifestation of it as well. Like I didn't automatically assume ghost. But yeah. But then obviously you find out that she's very clearly not, she doesn't feel the same way about him per se.
Literally.
Yeah. And it sucks for her because like she clearly feels like she can't say anything to him because she's like he's gonna flip and be really hurt and upset. And there's also the possibility that she's like, well, he might not want to be my friend anymore.
Absolutely, especially given the time period where
Yeah.
wasn't as accepted.
Yeah. But ultimately I can sort of see like the fact that she didn't talk to him about it, she just kind of let it go, and I was like, she's gonna end up walking off on him at the altar or something. Like that's what I thought was gonna happen.
Yeah,
But no, obviously she finally realizes, and then obviously you get the situation in the car where they're arguing, and then he just gets up and tries to leave, and boom, he dead.
Yeah,
I felt
absolutely.
so bad for Danny.
Um, I thought it was a really interesting way of handling the issue as a whole because, like, I mean, these are teen romances as well, so you're not sure if it's the
Yeah.
hormones or anything like that, but then the older you get and the more your feelings are more getting significantly defined, then it's like, no, I actually prefer the gals, which,
Yeah.
she's in the right. Everyone likes the gals. But
Yeah.
and
Can
then
confirm.
but it's like on a lighter note, like what the first person I thought of when I saw Glasses Dude was James Marsden. And I know it's not
Yeah,
him, but I was like, oh, Cyclops. No, wait.
it does look like him a bit. I get that.
But yeah, it's like it's really interesting the way they handled it as well because on the one hand, like understandably he would be upset because it's been going on for so long and he's not going to be able to process things as at all in that moment in time. And
Yeah.
then she's going to be emotional because she's letting out something so um, intimate to her. And then just
Yeah.
in the middle of all that, just a truck hitting him is just like, oh, bad
Yeah,
luck,
it's just
dude.
like, oh my god, that's the worst thing ever when you finally admit, and look, I don't like you that way. I've tried to, and I just don't.
It's like, look, I like pussy, bro. It's like,
I can sort of relate. It's a really awful situation when you've been friends with someone for such a long time and
when you
they've been
even
misreading everything, and you're just like,
and
no, I'm
even
sorry, I'm not into you that way.
even beyond that is like the fact that they were on the verge of getting married.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what makes it all the more um, well long lasting as far as a sense of trauma goes for her.
Yeah.
I mean, his was a lot more short term trauma, but
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
I mean, the thing is, though, if you deeply, deeply care about someone, you can kind of gauge when they're uncomfortable. And she looked really uncomfortable throughout the entire speech he gave about it. And I was like, you're not even looking at her, dude. You're giving this whole speech about how you love this person. You haven't even looked at her once.
I feel as though she felt very uncomfortable the entire time through the flashbacks, and you can clearly
Yeah.
tell that she wasn't being true to herself.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of Danny's challenge throughout Bly Manor is being true to herself and who she is. And I
Yeah.
thought they did it in a really beautiful way, and how the truth about Danny all came to light in this episode. I thought it was done really well. Everything from to do with her sexuality to the man with the glasses being her fiance who was killed. I thought it was done really well.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool because the man with glasses, in a lot of ways, has multiple functions
Hello?
within Danny's character. What? Hello?
Yeah, we're still here.
Oh, okay. I thought there was another delay, but oh no.
Hello.
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 How much of that did you get?
We got all of it.
Oh,
Yeah, we got
good,
all of what you
good.
said. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just gonna say that it's really cool that the man with the glasses has not just one aspect of Danny's personality infused into it, but it's got multiple, because A, you've got the trauma, B, you've got the grief, C, you've got the sexuality thing, and it's only when she's accepted all of them and decided to move on that he disappears from her psyche. And I thought, what a way of displaying multiple emotions in a single spirit, quote unquote, and just showing it visually. I was like, well,
Yeah.
storytelling, man.
Yeah, he's a literal trauma ghost. It's really done really well. And another thing that I feel like I'm kind of like, dude, you should have noticed is it seems like he's not seen her as a friend like at all throughout all of this. It seems like she's literally been wife material the whole time. And I'm like, that's so shitty.
I mean, on the one hand, like, they've been together since childhood, and so it was,
Yeah.
and because of the fact that their parents were so close to each other as well, I think that kind of fueled everything. And plus, this was mid 80s as well. It's kind of like the trope, you know, it's like study hard, get a good job, get married, have kids, and live happily ever after. You know, that's the slogan of the 80s, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I think all of that, the societal conventions combined with the parental conventions, just kind of amplified everything. I think, not that I'm saying that, it's the way it should be now, like, as far as his mentality goes, like, I think that's what led them there in the first place. I think on Danny's part as well, because that's what she was brought up on as well.
Yeah. In a sense, essentially, he pretty much became Headbeard then, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you say he became a neckbeard?
No, he became Headbeard. Like, do you know, so for anyone who doesn't know what a beard is, it's basically, around the time when, you know, being gay was illegal, people who were gay would get into marriages with each other to sort of basically cover up the fact they were gay. I don't know why it's referred to as a beard, but that's what it was referred to as.
Because you're hiding something underneath it.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that's why I called him a beard.
Okay. I would have loved a bit of a context, because I was like, wait, a beard? A beer? Wait, I'm confused. But yeah, I suppose. Yeah. But it's like, on the one hand, though, it's like Danny clearly didn't want that, and was, once she understood exactly who she was, she did open up to.
Oh no, it's gone. Hello, he's back again.
Hello.
Hi.
You went out there, and I wasn't sure whether that was me or you.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, I was just saying that. Yeah, as soon as Danny understood exactly who she was, and you know, who she was into, she, heartbreaking as it is, she was willing to say, okay, look, dude, bro, I kind of like the gals, you know, so
yeah, sorry.
In a weird way, as like, considering it was at the time as well, like, how would you take that? You know, it's not like Ross Geller in the 90s, you know, this was a full 10 years before that. How would he take it, you know?
Yeah, and even then, Ross Geller does not take it very well, and is
No.
very homophobic throughout Friends. So even then, it was considered abnormal.
Yeah, so it was very much the niche thing, whereas now, like, being gay is very much very
I
accepted in
think
comparison.
a great thing that this.
Hello, David has left the building for some
Yeah,
reason.
Yeah,
Oh, there you are. Hello.
he's
I'm
back
still
again.
here.
Okay.
I'm still here.
He left very
Hi.
briefly and then came back again.
Yeah, he just took a dip
Uh,
outside, realized it was too cold, and came back
I
in.
think the cool.
Yeah, he's like, I'm outside now. He's like a sim. When sims go outside and they get cold, they run back inside real quick. Except when they don't and then freeze to death on me. I'm not salty.
I killed him on purpose.
I think the cool thing. I think the cool thing about episode 4 is that you really get to see contrast between Danny's life prior to Bly Manor and Danny's life during Bly Manor, and you can see how uncomfortable she was not being true to herself compared to how she is around Jamie. And you also get the scene where they kiss in the greenhouse in this episode, and it's like complete acceptance of who she is. I thought that was a really wonderful way of displaying it by contrasting the two.
No, it wasn't this episode, was it? Because she gets freaked out because she sees glasses dude again.
Yeah, but they do kiss
Oh,
in
right, yeah.
episode 4.
Yeah. In that sense, yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, absolutely.
Because they have the scene where they're throwing things into the fire, and that's also that later that night. That's where Jamie and Danny kiss.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of accepting his sexuality, yeah, absolutely, you're right. This was the episode where they had the funeral, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let me just double check.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hello, I had to run to the bathroom real quick, sorry.
How
It's
could
okay.
you? Just leaving. Just every.
I know.
Anyway. Nice, cool. No, it's like because again, just how cool it is. Because this was the episode with the funeral shenanigans going on. Or was what? Yeah, it was this one. It's like you get basically, what's her face, Danny and Hannah together in the house with the children, and it's so cool because it's like Danny's not going because she doesn't want to deal with death, while Hannah is there because it's stated she deals with it in her own way. But the further we go into the show, we understand why she doesn't.
Yep.
But yeah, I also think it's really cool that Owen decides to come back to the manor in order to have his own wake in a really weird way with the people he cares about. Just drinking and having a good old time.
Yeah.
Very
I feel
true.
that. I feel like I'd do that. Like, I've had the lucky thing of not having to go to a funeral of someone who's near my age or my best friend or anything. But I feel like I'd definitely just want to be around a few people that I'm close with rather than be at a big massive wake with people if I lost a friend.
Absolutely.
Or a family member.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get to see how Danny is behaving in the original nearly husband wake as well, where she's breaking down completely, and now she's a lot more comfortable around the people that she kind of gives a damn about.
Yeah. I feel like the way she keeps seeing the spectacle guy pop up when she's talking to Jamie, I think was a definite thing of, okay, I need to deal with this. Like, it can't keep going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really relates back to how the ghost or figment of her imagination even is very much related to multiple aspects of her mental state in a negative aspect,
Yeah.
and once she's dealt with all of that and moved on, then Spectacles is gone as well.
Yeah. I saw a review where they were complaining, like, why did the spectacle ghost just disappear? And I'm like, were you not watching the same thing I was watching? It's literally been dealing. This is a
Was this the same
ghost that's
person
been
who
haunting
said
her for
ghosts aren't
years.
real?
I don't know, but I was reading it and I was like, okay. They're like, so where did this ghost go? And I'm like, okay, it's not like he just popped up and disappeared after one episode. It's been there throughout, popping up. It's been like a thing that she's clearly afraid of. And then in this episode, we're getting a whole explanation of why, and then we're getting her finally coming to terms with it. That's why he's gone. It's explained to you why he's gone, but this person was literally like, oh no, he's just disappeared randomly. And it's like, no, there's an explanation. He's gone because he was basically a literal thing that she was carrying around with her that she's accepted and moved on with now.
Absolutely, and I think it ties into the whole thing that started off in episode 1 of The Haunting of Hill House,
Yep.
where Stephen says that a ghost can be anything, a person, a memory, anything that'll follow you, and
Yeah,
I
so
think it ties right back into that idea that was set up in Hill House. And I thought it was done really well with the guy in the glasses.
Absolutely.
definitely.
And
And also,
even with the whole show, even with the whole series of Bly Manor. But yeah, sorry about that.
How
it's okay.
dare you, David? Just speaking as if you own the place. It's fine. No, absolutely, you do make a good point about that, because like it is very much something that both shows have done quite well, which is exploring how ghosts can come in multiple forms, physical or otherwise. So yeah, that's a fantastic point.
It's a very good point, and I think
Thank
it's
you.
what it was. I think it's what it was going for, because it is true. Like, everyone has some kind of ghost they're dealing with. It can be a tiny thing, like, oh, I don't know, something bad happened to me when I was a kid, so I'm afraid of the dark. I'm not literally afraid of the dark, but like, I'm just trying to think of an example of
Yeah,
like someone could be dealing with something they're afraid of because of a negative experience when they were younger. That
absolutely.
can be counted as a ghost.
Yeah, ghosts can come in many forms, physical or otherwise. And I think it really puts a question on, was guy in the glasses in her head, or was it an actual spirit? And it's like, because that was the last thing she saw of him, it makes sense that that is the image that
Yeah.
she sees every time she sees him. So yeah,
Yeah.
it is something that she herself has been carrying around,
Yeah.
and something that a ghost that she's been trying to get rid of. So yeah, V good.
Yeah. I feel like it's quite accurate, because when you try to remember someone who you've not seen for a long time, you don't really remember them fully as like the way they were. You kind of just remember specific details.
Yeah, it's like Frankenstein's monster, you know, it's like the arm from when they were 6, the head from when they were 80, the torso from when they were 20, the legs from when they were toddlers. So you got this disproportionate
Yeah.
being just floating in your mindscape, just going, hello.
I mean, like, when I think of my nan who died, like, I just remember her hair, because I remember how curly it was. Like, she pretty much used to wear her hair in an afro, and it was really cool. But, like, that's mostly the main thing I remember is her hair, and then the rest of her features are kind of a bit difficult for me to remember,
You
because
have
she
to put
died when I was
effort.
9. Yeah,
Yeah, and then
like,
also the longer you go on, the less you start to remember by yourself, and the more you're going to be reliant on pictures as well. So
yeah.
yeah.
That's why I take pictures.
I take a
I
lot of
knew it.
pictures of Mikey. But like, I take a lot because literally now I'm like, is it okay to take a picture? And he's like, no. And I get you. I don't like pictures either. So there's less of them now.
Oh, for a second I thought you were gonna say, "Do you want? Can I have a picture?" No, I'm gonna take one anyway.
No, I wouldn't do that. Like, I don't. I'm fully like teaching him incentives in
Boundaries.
all forms. Yeah, like if people try and hug him and he doesn't want to hug, I'm like, literally get off my child or I will kill you.
Fair enough.
Because
Oh,
you're never too young to learn boundaries, people.
Very true.
hooah. And that is the moral of Bly Manor, boundaries.
Boundaries. Life lessons from Amy.
Hooah. Someone comes wanting a hug, knife them.
Yeah. David's reaction is probably how whoever's watching is feeling. They're like, what's going on?
It's like life advice from what we watch. Someone wants a hug, stab them. It's like
Maybe if someone wants a hug and you don't want to hug them, just politely explain, I don't want to hug right now.
I mean,
I agree.
you could do that, but that's a lot less fun.
It's a lot less fun, but you won't get to jail.
If
so
they
you
find
know.
out.
They're hiding things and getting rid of fingerprints and whatnot, then sure, go for it.
I mean, just use a glove and a raincoat to begin with. You save a lot of time.
You weren't gonna get this monetized, were you?
I mean, I'm not allowed monetization at the moment anyway, so I don't really friggin' care.
That's fair.
I mean, honestly, an F-bomb is enough to get you demonetized these days, so we've had plenty of those. But,
Oh, yes.
yeah, I think the last thing I'd like to bring up is the fact that we finally get to see Vart is making the footprints in the hallway.
Ooh, yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, and then we
I
get to
love how
see
they are set up from the first episode, too.
literally, and then like the kids doing their best to make sure that okay, she's not going upstairs yet, because right behind them is whatchamacallit lady. Lady in the Lake, that's the one.
Lake lady. Lady
Yeah.
of the lake.
Her too.
Doing her thing.
And it's just how casually it just walks right by with Danny not knowing and the kids seeing everything, and it's like,
It's so
I do-
nerve-wracking. It's
I
like,
do wonder sometimes in those scenes because if Danny's looking at the kids, surely when they're looking behind her, she must be wondering what are they looking at.
I mean, it's a big house, they're children. She's probably used to it.
Yeah.
That's fair, yeah.
I would most definitely be like, what are you looking at? But that's me.
But
She's a bit more laid back, and she'd probably be a bit more like, do you know what? These kids are weird anyway. They've been doing weird things the whole time I've been here, so it's like, I'm just used to this now.
yeah, and it's just so casual as well. It's just in the background. No one sees. Well, we see it, and it's just like, yeah, she's just there, having a little walk, nice and comfy.
Taking a nice stroll.
Absolutely. And then, like, it's so cool because, like, we get a gauge, like, okay, so she's not going to go out of her way to do anything. Like, that's what we've established in this scene as well. And it's like, oh, so how does this ghost work, and why are they so afraid of said ghost? And we get to find that out eventually. Was it the next episode where we see Peter Quill get absolutely
Peter Quill.
balked?
We do. Yes.
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord gets killed, everybody. Sorry.
Gwent, yeah, him too. Jesus.
Yeah, it is, because the next one is my favourite one, with Hannah.
Oh my. Oh
Tania
yeah, true,
Miller
because it's from her
was
perspective we see it. Yeah, you're right.
Tania Miller was fantastic.
Not
in
gonna
this
lie,
episode.
this episode, aside from the finale, was probably the best. Like, my god, what a good episode.
Very
Absolutely.
good.
Okay.
I really liked it.
So while you two talk about episode 5, I'm going to return momentarily.
Okay. The Altar of the Dead.
The Altar
That's the
of
name
the
of this
Dead.
episode.
It's very good. It's pretty aptly named, I would
Yeah.
say.
Very
Yeah,
true.
this episode we find out that Hannah is indeed dead.
Dun, dun, dun.
I love how we did the same thing then.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, she dead. It's kind of like interesting because you basically go through a bunch of time loops a little bit, and it's kind of all over the place, really. Which I can imagine that's what being dead feels like.
Absolutely, because you keep seeing her mindset change with each reset, and I thought that was a really interesting way because she doesn't know that she's dead, but she knows that something's not quite right, and
Yeah,
it's each of these resets where you kind of clock onto a little bit because you're like, okay, something's not right here.
yeah,
And I love how it built to eventually discovering the truth.
yeah. I also love how, again, ties back into episode 1. It's very good at doing this. I really like it.
Yeah,
But,
same here.
yeah,
With the events just prior
yeah.
to Danny's arrival at the manor.
Yeah, so you literally get what Hannah was doing from beginning to the point where Danny arrives at the manor. So you kind of see what's happening there.
Exactly, because it's very clear from the flashbacks to a year prior to Danny's arrival.
Yeah,
So when Rebecca turned up, it's very clear that Hannah is alive at that point.
yeah,
Whereas, there were little hints sprinkled throughout
yeah,
before this episode that maybe she is a ghost because she's not touching objects.
maybe.
So I really liked how they tied that in.
Yeah. Also, it definitely explains the crack a lot more, like the crack in the ceiling she keeps seeing.
Very true. And also her touching her head a
Yeah,
lot.
her touching her head a lot made sense. I also love that specifically the time she always goes back to is when she first meets Owen, and we get to see how they
That was
met, and
really
I was
nice.
like, so cute. But also, it's like, oh my god, that's really depressing. That's the bit that she has to go back to.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
isn't it like a thing where it's like they have to relive their last day over again, and then they end up back at the house or something? I can't remember what it is.
I
But like,
believe so.
there's a reason why she has to keep going to that point in particular, because
Oh,
that's always the start of the
the
loop, if you will.
you're asking why Tiana Miller has to go to the interview part over and over again as the reset point?
Yeah,
It's because that's her happiest memory.
that's it, right?
Okay.
So, okay, but can I just? Why does Peter always go back to seeing his mum? Because that's not his happiest memory. It's explicitly clear that this is not a happy memory for me. Why do I have to keep reliving it?
That's really interesting. Okay, so my interpretation of that is everyone else in the house is going to their happiest memory, while Peter fucking Quent, is going through his quote unquote hell over and over again.
Okay.
Now, my interpretation of it is, and I think Peter does say it at one point as well, like, a lot of people go to their perfect moment and I keep coming to this perfect hell or something to that effect.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think it's because Peter is the only one to have consciously killed that is not the lady in the lake, and that could be his
Very
own
true.
personal hell. Like, that's my interpretation of it. I'm not sure if it's the canon reason.
No, I
But-
was just very, because you said like it's the happiest memory. That's why I was like, hang on, why did Peter go to his worst memory? But now that you say that, it kind of makes more sense. But yeah, I do find it really cute. But that must really, like any memory in particular, if even if it's joyous to you, if you have to keep reliving it and then finally realizing, shit, you know what, I'm dead. That must be really horrible.
It's not the most pleasant of recollections, I guess. Like, oh shit, I'm dead.
Yeah, like, oh, this is a nice memory. Wait a minute, something's not right.
Yeah, and it's like it's cool how it starts off with it being like oh, it's a flashback to how they met. Oh nope, it's
Yeah.
actually present day. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, like at first it's like, oh, a flashback, and then it's like, wait, she's back again.
And
Wait,
you
she's
know what?
back again. What?
It's really cool because it ties all the moments when she was spaced out. That when she was spaced out, that's what she was reliving.
Yeah, basically
true.
she's spaced out and going through a loop again. And are you seeing a theme with me and loops? I tend to really like things with loops in them.
Because they're loopy, very very loopy loop.
Yep. I mean, my dad calls me a Fruit Loop, so maybe that's it.
And you know what? Like, the episode starts with a nice long conversation between Hannah and Owen, just talking about, hey,
Yeah.
let's go to Paris together.
Yeah.
Let's just
it's like,
go.
Oh. I
And
know.
it's like-
I was like, oh.
Her being like a 12-year-old girl last out on a date for the first time is, oh, well, 15 maybe, is better.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, and it's like both of them being incredibly happy, you know, being there for each other in Owen, both of their one of their roughest days. You know, it's like, okay, things are down. Peter's back. Mom's dead. I need help.
Yeah. Look at that face, though. She's so happy. She's like, I love this man.
Oh, you're watching it. Great.
Yeah. That face, though. That's how I look at cake.
Same.
That's how I look at food and tea.
Yep.
Tea, especially.
Yep. Oh, tea. Yeah, I look like I look like that when I'm boiling the kettle. Like I'm gonna have tea in a minute.
Like, genuinely, like, I don't really care about getting sponsors like NordVPN or Manscaped. Like, if Yorkshire Tea decides to sponsor
Yes.
us, I would be so
Go
happy.
for it. Yeah, me too. It'd be kind of cool to have Audible sponsor us as well, because they're pretty good.
That would be
Yeah.
cool.
But tea, though.
But tea, yeah. or even hot chocolate as well, like Cadbury's hot chocolate.
Oh,
You
sponsored
can
by
sponsor
Cadbury's
us
hot
too.
chocolate. Oh. But yeah, you never like. We've got a picture of Tiana Mella just looking like a schoolgirl, and we're talking
Yeah.
about being sponsored, wishing being sponsored by like Yorkshire Tea and
Tea.
Cadbury's.
Yeah.
um,
As long as
But-
it's not Raid Shadow Legends, because I
Do you know
see
what?
that everywhere.
I have played it.
Oh right.
Piece of shit game, to be honest. Like, you just tap a button. 5 seconds later, you kind of have a quick snore. You come back. It's like, right, tap the button again. So yeah,
Fun.
but beyond that, yeah, it's like you've got a really nice conversation, and it's really cool because this is happening parallel to the greenhouse scene from the previous episode. So
Oh yeah.
perspective.
Ooh,
I love that about both Hill House and Bly Manor, seeing perspectives.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like different
At the same
perspectives, and
time.
it's good.
And then
I like it.
like even the subtle ways in which the happiest memory goes for Tiana Mello, where like, oh, the first time round it's exactly as it is, and then every time she goes through it, it becomes a lot more altered bit by bit, until finally she's just having an outright memory wall breaking conversation with her and an interpretation of Owen, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Gee, it's kind of like our Chrysalis.
Very true.
Oh god, yeah.
When I
Jesus.
watched this, I was getting major like, oh my god, we sort of did something similar here, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. We
Like-
did it.
I was just gonna say we did a whole year and a bit before.
Yep.
Oh god, yeah, Jesus. That film is over a year and a half now.
It's all
Wow,
Nearly 2 years old. Jesus.
I miss filming that.
Me too.
Yeah, well, it was
should
fun. Yeah, the three of us, Anya, Tom being abused, and then Alyssa, who is wonderful to work with as always.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was so great in
She
that.
was very good.
Yeah, it just fell together in a really cool way. Like that's what I haven't seen it in months, maybe
I
over a
haven't watched
year.
it either.
But
I haven't watched it in a long time.
yeah, that's why I thought it would be really cool for us to watch together, see
I was gonna say
what we
we
would
should
do
do.
now, and compare notes and stuff like that, and
Oh
talk
yeah, we
about
should
it.
do that. Yeah, we should do that.
That'll be fun.
Blackmail Anya into coming back.
Tom could definitely talk on that one, and maybe even if you ask Alyssa, she might want to come back and talk
Yeah,
about it.
that would definitely be something. Maybe that could be like the Boxing Day stream or something like that. The 27th after Mando, just get everyone together.
Yeah.
Or maybe even the 13th, because that
Maybe.
spot's open at the moment. Oh no,
Cool.
13th is another topic actually. Never mind.
Oh.
So yeah, 27th is probably the earliest we could do based on the schedule we have. We have a schedule.
We have schedule. Woo!
But
yes.
yeah, anyway, this episode really good because you get more into the parents here as well, because
Yeah.
like they've been kind of out of the picture for a good while, and now we get to see their relationship with her and her relationship with the younglings, and you're seeing what she was to the family, and it's very subtle, but she is a lot more, well, what's the word I'm looking, she's not very much aggressive, but she's willing to stand her ground a lot more, whereas now she's a lot more standoffish, and I thought that was a really cool differentiation between the flesh and the spirit, so to speak.
Yeah. I just really like how she, like, basically how we get to see how the parents treated her, and they basically treated her like one of the family, which was quite sweet to see.
Absolutely. And Diana Miller, at no point, even then, did she like Peter Quint.
Yeah. You did it!
Because she just goes, "Oh, you can bring the bags up in a moment." I was like, "Oh." And then Peter's like, "Yeah, I'll do that." And then just continue smoking. Like, that was a really cool interaction between them. And then, like, it's really cool because, like, you can tell that Hannah's never liked Peter all the way from day one, and that's just been manifesting all the way through to the point when she tossed him out of the main bedroom. So, yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. I love how basically he gets killed by accident. It's just like, dude, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now you're gonna die.
And also, it really does establish two things. A, it establishes how the lady in the water works. She's got a pathway, and she's gonna keep going it. It's like an NPC in a game. It's like, okay, this is the path she's gonna take, memorize it, and then just stay out of it. It's like playing a stealth game in a lot of ways.
Which is essentially what the kids have done.
Exactly. And
it's like, this is the path, do not go in the way or you die.
And it's really cool because they've got the little boy helping them out with where all the spirits are as well. So but it's like you get to see not only Peter Quilius die, but she also gets to see the aftermath of it as well, and how Rebecca's taken it all the way up until her less than ideal demise.
Yeah. Oh, I was so sad when she died. Like, I knew it was coming. You could kind of tell it was coming, but like the way in which it happens, it's like, oh my god, that's a horrible way to die.
Absolutely.
And then when it's revealed what she's looking at in the well in that moment,
yeah, I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. I mean, it's not cool. One of my favorite characters is dead, but yeah, I was like, it loops around. It makes sense now.
And it's like it's because, and that's the first instance. I'm pretty sure that it's not the first instance, but you have a deeper understanding of how the ghost mechanics in this manor works. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
like he can possess, but if he's let in, it'll be a lot easier, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, and then Peter taking control of Miles in that moment to have Hannah topple over is just like, ooh.
Yeah. I was kind of like, I know somehow Peter's gonna be responsible for this, but I don't know how because he's dead now. But then I was like, oh, that's how.
Hmm.
What did you think was happening when the loops first started to happen? Did you catch on to the fact that she was a ghost, or were
I
you just
didn't.
wondering what was happening?
I didn't catch on to the fact she was a ghost. I was a bit like, is this something to do with her? Like, is she having some kind of weird hallucination issues? Is she dreaming? But I didn't immediately go for ghost.
I get you. How about you, Dylan?
I was pretty much the same as well. Like, for the most part, I figured that, much like Danny, I thought it was her going through her own trauma in her own way. But then,
Yeah.
when it was revealed that, oh no, it was actually, you're kind of dead, it's like, oh, that makes so much more sense, actually, yeah. Because she lives for an extraordinary amount of time and then she just appears out of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah.
And like, oh, where's Hannah? She's about somewhere, I'm sure. And then it's like a moment later, it's like, oh, there you are. Huh, funny
Yeah.
about that.
It could sort of explains why they keep seeing Peter as well.
Hmm.
But I don't know if anyone ever sees Rebecca apart from the kids.
No, it's just the
Um,
kids
it's just the kids and then Danny.
I do
at the
want
very
to
end, yeah.
know. I do want to know why they don't see any of the other ghosts because there are a ton of people that have died in that house. So I want to know like how all the other ghosts aren't like randomly popping up like, "Hi there."
I think, like, okay, so here's where it gets a bit confusing because, like, because they are in the background, but they kind of walk past them. So I'm like, okay, is that a cool Easter egg for the viewer, or is that something happening in world? Because what the both haunting series have done well is establishing that, oh, there's some really interesting ghosts you can pick out if you really pay attention. But what that also does for the series is like, okay, but if are they actually there in world right now, and are they visible to the characters or are they not? That's something that's very much left unexplained. And like from a story point of view, I think that's a weakness on the hauntings part, on both series actually, because they're all over the place. But from a viewer, I'm like, oh, that's really cool because, like, in episode 3, it's something I noticed when I was watching it again with my parents. It's like, the little boy that maneuvers all the dolls all the way through in the house, tells Flora where everyone is. Like, the boy is standing right there in the hallway and Danny just kind of walks right past, and I'm like, okay, so is that an Easter egg for the audience, or is that in world? And if it's in world, how does that work? Do they man? But then I was having that question, but then I think about, okay, how does whatchamacallit, Peter work? Like, okay, Peter works when he's conscious about wanting to be seen. When he really concentrates,
Oh,
then he
okay.
gets seen. But if you
So it's
don't,
like a
yeah.
yeah.
I think
So
that was a big part of it because, obviously the ghosts themselves, for the most part, have forgotten who they are.
yeah.
Having
So
said that, how that factors in, I don't know because they know the ghost is there, the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah.
uh, who do you mean knows the Lady of the Lake?
Because I can't remember. Do they see the Lady of the Lake when they're getting strangled?
Oh,
Or
when
Oh,
the people are
I
getting
think so.
strangled, yeah, they do see her.
Yeah.
But the Lady in the
then
Lake seems to be an anomaly in herself,
Well, yeah, because none of the other ghosts seem to be able to kill anyone.
or rather have
very
no
true.
interest in her at the very least,
Or
because
yeah,
Peter does
I
kill.
mean, He does, but he does so by possessing someone else.
Oh,
Like
I get
none of
what you
the
mean, like
what
a
I mean, like so
physical
none of
touch
the other
kind of kill.
ghosts. Yeah, like she hasn't got to possess anyone to kill people. She can just do it. She can literally
Yeah.
drag them and strangle them on the way there, and they can't get out of her grasp. Like that's it. She's got you. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I suppose it might be because she was the first and she was like at the oldest of the law. But
Yeah, I mean she wasn't a happy ghost either. Like
she really wasn't.
she was pretty mad about everything at the end. So she's a vengeful spirit. So that
Yeah.
might be part of it. I think what's so terrifying about her is the fact that it's literally a case of she's just walking, and you're just in the way, and now you're just dead. There's no like reason behind it. There's no. It's just randomly like
There's a
that's it.
yeah, there's a callousness to dying by her, you know. It's like, oh, you're just insignificant, you're just in my way, you know.
Yeah.
It's just pure rage more than anything else. But yeah, it's like it does. I think Bly Manor does a much better job of explaining the ghost mechanics than Haunting does, because I mean,
I
Yeah.
Hill
think
House
so
does,
too.
because you get to see Peter explain it, like, okay, if I do this, this will work, and it took me a long time to figure it out, but I know it now, and I can teach you how to do it, kind of thing going on.
I
Yeah.
think a big part of that is that you actually see someone become a ghost.
Yeah.
Whereas in Hill House, even with Nellie, it's like once she dies, you cut to the funeral.
Yeah.
It's not from her perspective.
Yeah.
Same with Carla Gugino in Hill House, whereas with Peter Quint, you stay with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
And
like,
I feel like another thing that this did better was the appearance of the ghosts. Like it explains why some of them have faces and some of them don't.
yeah, absolutely.
Like in Hill House, literally sometimes Carla Gugino looks like a zombie, and sometimes she's her pretty lovely self, and it's like, is the house doing that to her, or is she choosing to, like,
Yeah,
why are they different?
and even Poppy,
Like,
when she's
ooh.
talking to Olivia as well, she's like, sometimes she is normal, sometimes she is rotten, and I'm like, why though? No one can see you. What are you doing? Why? How? Explain. You know?
Yeah, like if you have control over how you look as a ghost, I would be making myself look fine all the time. Like I'd be like, if I can just click my fingers and have my makeup be perfect, that's what I'll be doing when I'm dead.
I would constantly look like Adonis.
There you go.
But
I'd also be taller. I'd be like, if I can affect my appearance, I'm making myself taller.
oh, I'd be like the tall man with the walking cane and the top hat.
Henry Hill.
That's why
Yeah.
he's so tall. That makes sense now. He did it himself. He's like, I want to be tall, bitch.
But yeah, I think that's really what is highlighted in Bly Manor as well. Like we were talking about at the very top of the stream, where it seems like they've really learned a lot from Hill House, and they've gone so much deeper into explaining how everything works from a practical point of view, from a lore point of view, from a ghost mechanics point of view, and that's really cool to see, rather than just sticking to their guns and saying, no, we got it right the first time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really good point you brought up as well, the appearance of the ghost, and that helps put a lot of agency on Peter and Rebecca as well, because
Why
they
they-
want to get
yeah.
out. And it's like, because if they stay any longer, they're just going to be, you know, husks like everyone else.
Faceless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh, speaking of the hide and seek scene, how freaked out were you when you saw Viola's sister just hanging around behind Flora, just mumbling the tune to herself,
Oh yeah.
and she just
Oh,
goes,
God.
"Shh." I was like, "I'm sorry, what just happened?"
Yeah. I was so free. I was like, whoa.
I was so confused in that moment.
I was watching it and I was like, Whoa.
That was really the moment where I was like, okay, there's definitely something more going on here.
I was like, that little girl is badass, because if that was me, I'd be freaking screaming my head off
I mean,
if I
she's.
saw something with no face, because things without faces freak me out.
I mean, she's.
Especially things without faces that are like humanoid, because it's like, it plays with my head, because it's like, that's supposed to be a human face right there, and it's gone.
Oh, how do you feel about mannequins then?
I think that's my nightmare, becoming a faceless thing.
Can't say that I blame you there, losing every bit of yourself.
Mannequins, I don't have a problem with them as long as they stay still. If they move, then they freak me out.
Oh, well, you know what I'm
Like
gonna
in
get
horror
you for
movies, like,
Christmas.
you know, you get some stories where it's like, ooh, it's moving. I'm like, nope, I'm done. Yeah, mannequin.
Okay, so there was a
I'd say
delay.
dolls freak me out more than mannequins.
Hmm. And yeah,
I've
like.
just given you an idea, haven't I?
He's already on Amazon.
No, like I was actually going to say that it's actually pretty cool that the little boy ghost actually hides among the dolls, and Flora just kind of pulls him out and says,
Yeah.
"Let's be friends." And I'm like, Flora, sure.
Oh.
Um, yeah, it's really cool because this one gives you a solid understanding of how the ghosts work, how you become a ghost. Well, um, that if you die in the house, you become a ghost, so to speak, and you figure
Yeah.
out a lot about Hannah's past as well, because her husband left her for another woman, assumedly, and she was dealing with that. She moved into the house full time and all of that, so everyone she knows is literally in the house. So yeah, very, very interesting
Yeah.
how much was explored in episode 5, despite the fact that most of it was just repetition of sequences in different manner.
Yeah. Oh, also, I would like to point out this episode has done better what American Horror Story tried to do with an entire season of this story, because in American Horror Story season 1, it's a murder house. So literally, when people die, they become ghosts. And instead of implementing it in any kind of good way, it's kind of implemented in a case of the house ends up full of literally everyone that started in the beginning. They're all dead and they're all stuck in the house, but like, it's just literally chaos, and it's not even scary.
That must be pretty crowded.
It's pretty crowded at the end. Literally everyone's dead, and they're just like, literally they argue with each other all the time, and it's like, it's kind of as if they're just forced to be roommates rather than they're all dead.
It's like, oh my god, Becca, I'm sorry I finished the milk and put the empty carton back in the fridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally, like, you get a few characters that are like, I can't believe you freaking killed me, and I'm like,
Oh,
why is this happening? It's done in a way that it just makes it hilarious. It doesn't make it in any kind of way interesting or scary.
You see, I think that would be an interesting premise for a show if it was a
Yeah,
comedy.
as a comedy, it works really well, but I don't think that's what they were going for.
like the most nonchalant anger towards being murdered I've ever seen.
Just, I can't believe you murdered me.
It's like,
There is-
God.
There is a similar story of like someone's dead and they don't realize they're dead until a later on point. But I feel like this was implemented much better and more interestingly and more in a scary way, because I feel like poor Hannah, it would be scary not knowing what's going on and having to go through these random memories repeatedly and not know why.
And through no
And
control
like
of her
lose
own as
time.
well.
Yeah. Like in Murder House in the American Horror Story, literally people die and they're like, oh, I'm dead now. And then they just get pissed off with the rest of the ghosts and start fighting with each other.
As you do.
And it's just like, well, it was interesting to start with, and now it's a bit like, oh, well, people are gonna die, we get it.
Yes. Get the
Standard
kill over
stuff.
with. Yeah.
It's like everybody dies. Yeah, it's like everybody dies and now they're all stuck in the house together. The end. It has been a while since I've watched it though, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, anybody.
I've not seen Horror Story Part 1 at all, so I will not know. But yeah, aside from the fact that this was a fantastic
People
episode.
If anyone watches this and they're like, actually, yeah, I was gonna say, if anyone's watching this and they're like, actually, this thing happened in season 1, feel free to put that in the comments. And if I'm wrong, then I will admit it on the next video or something. I don't know.
Don't admit to
Back
anything.
to Bly Manor.
Don't admit to anything.
Do not admit to anything.
That's how they get you.
I love how that's your takeaway.
Don't admit.
Never admit to anything, not unless you're cornered, man. It's like, I'm really not portraying myself as a good role model here, am I? Just, oh yeah, stab someone if they want to hug you. Like, oh yeah, don't admit to anything. Only if they find out. Just I say it with love.
Do you know when you say stuff? Do you know when you say stuff like that? Have you ever seen either the moment from The Office or the GIF from The Office where it's Steve Carell as Michael Scott just baring his teeth and cringing? That's me.
That's how I feel with there's one episode where like he tries really badly to prove that he's not racist.
Oh.
And like that's how I feel when I watch that episode. I'm like, oh, this is really aged badly.
Okay, so my takeaway from that, David, is: are you saying that I am cringe?
Oof.
No, I'm saying the stuff that you say sometimes is cringe.
I love how he did that.
Yeah, there's a delay on my side, so I'm really being patient with your replies at the moment. So
yeah, there's a bit of a delay with you as well, or unless were you just waiting to see if we talked?
Occasionally, because I was waiting, because I was conscious.
Can't tell what's going on.
I know. I was like, I can't tell if it.
I was pretty conscious about the fact that there was a delay, so I was waiting, and then you guys did reply, so I figured I was at a delay. Yeah, well, at least it waited until an hour this time.
Sorry, it did a.
But
very true.
Yeah.
Is there anything else anyone would like to speak about with regards to Elsa? Oh no, that's Sank. 1, 2, 3, 4, Sank. Yeah, 5. Never mind.
5. Other than his really good character in Umbrella Academy, no, I'm done.
Oh god, yeah, 5. Yes, this is true. This is a thing. Umbrella Academy. Yes. Anyway, yeah. Also, okay, so I guess the last thing would be just how cool it is to see Owen in so many different perspectives, saying essentially the same thing but selling it every time.
Yes.
It's like, oh, dude, you should be in more things.
Yeah. Yeah. I do love the bit where he's like, so, let's get back to it, shall we? And just repeats the line. And I'm I love him. I love him so much.
It's like, and it's so accurate. Her interpretation of Owen is just so accurate to who Owen is. And I'm just like, oh, yes.
Like, these two, I'm so sad these two didn't get together. They're so cute.
I mean, they will eventually. Just take some time.
Oh. When he dies.
You said it, not me.
But will he be at Bly Manor?
I mean, neither will she, so they'll just have to look for each other for a long time in heaven. They're bound to bump into each other eventually.
Bound
to. So then, in that case, shall we go to episode 6?
Let's do it.
Hooah! Righto then. Episode 6. If I remember correctly, this is Flora's episode. Yes?
Yep, and it is titled The Jolly Corner. Honestly, since it's her episode, it should be perfectly splendid, in my opinion.
The
You know what?
perfectly
I
splendid.
actually agree with that.
It should be called Perfectly Splendid.
Not even that, it's like this episode is perfectly splendid.
It is.
Okay.
Pretty good.
No, I meant the name for the.
Don't we get a bit
No.
more about Henry in this one as well?
I was just gonna say, yeah. It's okay. So that's very interesting. Absolutely, we get both Henry and Flora because of their lineage, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, you get Henry going off on his archetypisms, and then you got Flora going off on her spacing because Rebecca's taking over.
There's a big delay on your end, Dylan.
I know.
Like, to the point where we just got tiny fragments of what you were saying.
God damn it. Oh, right. Okay.
Henry character.
Henry. Whee.
This is going perfectly splendid.
Do you know what? Screw you.
I
It
hate
is.
it, and it's perfectly splendid.
That's gonna be in our heads all day now, all night and through
Honestly,
to tomorrow. Perfectly
It's gonna
splendid.
become a meme on our channel. It's just gonna be like perfectly splendid.
Yeah.
And then we'll make merch with t-shirts that say perfectly splendid.
Oh, yeah. Like, do you want this perfectly splendid jacket?
Because
I
it's
have a
perfectly
suggestion.
splendid.
Oh, do
Do go
tell.
on.
Right. So I feel really bad, but I think all my family have gone to bed. So I'm either gonna have to talk very quietly, leave the call, or we could always reconvene next week or whenever through this week and do the final 4 episodes.
It is up to you, good
If
sir.
that's best for you guys.
I mean, I'm free to talk as long, but it's up to you.
I feel really bad.
No, it's okay.
Good.
I'm
'Cause
free
that-
most nights. I'm not free Thursday night. I'm not free Tuesday night this week or Thursday night because I'm playing Among Us on Thursdays.
I'm just thinking because we've still got 4 episodes to go and it's
I know we've really
10 to
talked a
11.
lot.
almost 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So which do you guys feel most comfortable about doing?
I don't mind either way.
I don't think we'll to talk for much longer.
Okay. So in that case, how's about we do a
Are you guys
what we
still there?
watch? Yeah, I'm still here. Oh, for God's sake. Hello.
Yeah.
It's pretty ironic. It's pretty
Hi,
ironic that the time where I say I don't think I'll be able to talk much longer is
there
where
you
my thing
go.
goes out of sync.
But
Yeah.
so when you guys next free, because we can finish this off at what we watch number 11.
I'm pretty much free the rest of the week.
Free the rest of the week except for Tuesday or Thursday.
Tuesday or Thursday. Okay. Tell you guys what. Okay. How's about we do it tomorrow?
Yeah, that
Sounds
works.
good to me.
Cool. And then depending on what time we finish, we can crack on and try the
Excuse me.
group stream as well. The watch together experiment as well.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
That
Cool.
works.
Perfectly splendid. That would be perfectly splendid.
Wonderful.
Perfectly splendid. That's just going to be stuck in my head forever now. It's never going to get out.
So we watched until 5. So we've talked about until 5. So 6 is going to be what we're starting with next.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Righto.
can't wait to talk about episode 8.
Ooh,
Oh
episode
Jesus!
8's a good one.
Yes. So we got 4 more episodes. So we should be done by, I don't know, 10 more hours.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But yeah, no, absolutely, that's cool. I'm happy to go tomorrow if you guys are at same time.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All
works.
right. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, we will do a 24-hour stream one day, just not today. So, thank you everyone for watching up until this point. We do
Thank
go
you.
off on our various tangents, and yeah, we will be concluding us talking about Bly Manor tomorrow.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Where we'll finally maybe get through the rest of the episodes. I say maybe because we spent half of the stream on episode 1.
I mean, like
There was a lot to go into on episode 1.
Yeah.
an entire nearly an hour we spent on episode 1 alone. I mean, considering this is our second longest stream, and our longest stream was Hill House, this is combined. This is going to be impressive.
Ironically, Hill House is longer than Bly Manor.
I know it's weird,
Yeah.
right? Like, I guess we've just gotten really comfortable about really talking a lot more, and we chewed into a lot more as well, especially when it came to like episode 3 when we were talking about the abuse factor and all that. So
Yeah.
Very true.
I'm sorry.
that's fine.
Kind
Like,
of went off on a big tangent.
no, I mean, it was a conversation more than anything else, and it was related to the show, so it was understandable that we would have that conversation. But yeah, until
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I thought you were gonna say something. Hello.
I wasn't.
Um, yeah, so in that case, we shall hopefully conclude on Bly Manor tomorrow. So look forward to that, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're watching this well after tomorrow, well, it'll be available to you anyway. So yeah, thank you. And yeah, have a good time, everyone. Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
See ya.